A new season and a new era dawns in the Stay Tuned Sports podcast truck series. It's the first race of the 2024 B season in the Elite Racing League truck series for SimPulse Paintworks 250 at virtual Daytona International Speedway. You see the track maps and the weather conditions coming up on your screen. It's the 2.5 mile super speedway in virtual Daytona Beach, Florida, that plays host to many big events, both in the real world and the virtual one, not least in the Elite Racing League, obviously home of the home place beer Daytona 500. My name is William White. David Huckleberry is joining us in the production booth, as well as a couple new faces in the commentary box. Matthew Weeks, two-time Daytona 500 winner and two-time Cup Series champion, and of course Ethan Burrell will be jumping in and out of the Discord channel as a pit reporter of sorts. Firstly, guys, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Ready to kick the season off in a good way.
Yeah, it's so fun to come down here to Daytona to kick off the season. I know all these drivers got huge nerves just trying to make the field, and I'm excited to catch some of the action and get the input from some of these race teams throughout the night.
It's definitely going to be exciting to watch this season as you see your first starting grid of the season decided by 2 lap averages on this Super Speedway has been decided, and it's RC Ennison, past Grand National Series champion, on the pole. Joe Francis, last season's playoff driver, will start alongside him in P2. We're letting Norgard and Chad Frankenfield make up row number 2. Connor Thompson rounds out the top 5. Jeff Green, Championship 4 contender from last season, starts in P6. Caleb Thompson in the 04. We'll have Gavin Higgins for company on the outside of row 4. Seth Rawls in the 25 and Johnny Thomas in the 83 rounds out the top 10. Michael Harsack, the leading international driver from Canada, starts 11th. Dustin Dewar will pilot the 32 in P12. Matt Hackathorn in the 48 will have 7-time Elite Racing League champion Tyler Foti on his outside in P14. Zachary Trevino rounds out the top 15 with Time McIntosh for Shift Esports in the 75 alongside Race Clark. His first race in the Elite Racing League will have Josh Adams for company with Tom Bourne and Daytona 500 winner Kendall Noah Player rounding out the top 20. Take us through the rest of the grid, Matthew.
We got Justin Wadsworth pulling off 21st, Michael Goodman 22nd, Andrew Hardcastle 23rd, David Westergreen 24th, Jacob Quill 25th, Brady Smith 26th, Frank Fody 27th, John Smith 28th, Andrew Rucker 29th, Chris Wright 30th, Donald Kite 31st, Caleb Pewchummer 32nd, Matt Telder 33rd, Dustin Haynes 34th, Jordan McAvoy 35th, and Matt Grunberg 36th, James Miller 37th, Michael Michaka 38th, Jesse Razimus 39th, Cody McCorkle 40th, Sam Batwell 41st, and Raymond Hanneman 42nd, Austin Innabit 43rd, and I don't think the rest raced, right? I think only 43 made it tonight.
Right, it's only 43. I think Gerald Campbell, though, will race, and he'll bump out, I believe, Minchaka. And I think James Miller also gets bumped out by somebody else there at the bottom that was a locked in top 25 in points last season.
A lot of guys going home tonight. A lot of people showed up, and what was it, 12, 13 guys going home.
Yeah, 55, 56 drivers were in the practice session. Obviously, 43 make the grid with those 16 drivers locked in, having finished in the top 25 last season. Obviously, 9 of those drivers, I believe, aren't returning. You already see a few drivers filtering out of the session, so that will thin the herd slightly, obviously down to just 43 drivers. Leading the pack will be the number 50 truck, RC Ennison for Pro Edge Racing. He'll have Joe Francis there in the number 35 alongside. Now, Matthew, of course, you've won the Daytona 500 2 times in your Elite Racing League career. I believe you're the driver to do it multiple times. So you know what you're doing on the higher banks. You know what it takes to win here, and I'm sure you can spot a good plate track driver a mile away. Who do you think can get it done tonight?
And take it back, Tyler Fody is the only other guy to win 2 500. So me and him are the only ones in that book. To look, it's a lot of guys with experience, because people think it's just you just full send all the time. There's a lot that goes into plate racing and a lot of strategy. when to pull moves. So I'm looking at, Fody. I mean, he wins at Daytona all the time. So I'm looking at Tyler Fody. I'm looking at Frankenfield, who makes wild moves because you got to be aggressive to get wins here. RC, he's ran pretty well here the last couple of times we've been here. So it's just you got to be aggressive and you got to time your moves right.
Definitely like a 200-mile-per-hour game of chess racing on super speedways. Daytona, of course, among them. RC Anderson, an experienced driver. Tyler Foote, obviously 7-time champion, 2-time winner of the 500, so he knows how to win on the high banks. Jack Frankfurt as well, as you mentioned, Matthew. Very aggressive driver, almost notorious for it. Can definitely make the moves to potentially take the checkered flag tonight. The field just coming through turns 3 and 4 on the formation lap, ready for a century of laps ahead of them. 250 miles makes up the SimPulse Paintworks 250, one of the longest races on this season's calendar of 14 races. They'll be just coming in to the pit lane now. The pace car does pull off. RC Anderson will lead the field to the green flag for the first time this season. It's officially time to get the 2024B Stay 2 Sports Truck Series season underway. Green flags in the air. It's a decent start for RC Anderson, who has a Leighton Norgard in tow. Joe Francis there on the high side has a bit more help from Chad Frankenfield and Jeff Green there. 3 cars on the high side, 2 on the bottom. That lets Joe Francis get about a truck length ahead going through turns 1 and 2. Ready for a resurgence on the low side from Anderson and Norgard there on the bottom as the field starts to get organised. Looks like the high line looks particularly well straightened out at the time being, but it's neck and neck for the lead coming down the back straight.
Yeah, a lot of the outside is pretty lined up with a lot of trucks, so it's going to be hard to get the bottom going up there. I think Chad's going to push Francis to the lead once they get good momentum on the outside.
Definitely starting to get a bit more organised. The Leighton Norgard there giving a brilliant push to the 50 of RC Anderson that allows Anderson to get just about clear of the 35. RC electing to stay to the bottom of the track, but just as they cross the line, a monster push from Frankenfield means Joe Francis leads his first laps of the season, crosses the track first, start lap 2 of 100, ready for the likes of Jeff Green, Connor Thompson, Gavin Higgins to enter the fray momentarily in their respective lanes. But so far, looks like Anderson and Norgard are particularly well linked up as Anderson shoots to the high side, blocks the run of Joe Francis, gets a push of his own. That's going to leave Norgard hung out to dry somewhat as here comes Francis to the inside now. Frankenfield elects to try and get down, but instead gets through the middle. Anderson now shuffled out there as Frankenfield makes the move to the middle of the racetrack, trying to get in front of Leighton Norgard, I think there. Just mistimed it, and that's going to spell bad news for the 50. Early doors here. Start lap 3 of 100. RC Anderson, pole sitter, begins to fall back after being shuffled out. He's now around the top 15. Joe Francis now leads with a Leighton Norgard pushing him.
Yeah, luckily someone let RC in so he didn't fall all the way to the tail end, because it'll be hard to get back up there. See a lot of guys I haven't seen on track before riding in this top 10. I mean, they're running really well early in this race.
Definitely doing a good job to stay clean as of right now.
Got a report from the pole sitter RC Enerson just before we took the grid. He had no friends out here, the only Pro Edge racing truck, and I asked him the plan. Well, he didn't really know. He came out with some good qualifying speed, but he decided he's going to try to link up with those Lake Norman Motorsports trucks. So I know they lost a few guys to the qualifying, but they gained a ally for the race in RC Enerson. That's
a good group to have with if you have no teammates on track with you. And
Most
look at that,
definitely.
Tyler Fody pushing RC all the way back to the front on that third lane.
Oh yeah, we know how good Tyler Foote is at pushing on the super speedways. I think, who's that going up to the high side? Is that Jeff Green?
Yes, he is.
Oh,
He's
we're
going to
looking
take
for
every
Jeff
run like
already.
that.
Oh yeah, Jeff Green, another super speedway specialist here. Definitely someone you would want leading a lane here. As RC Anderson already coming straight back to the front. He's got Tyler Foote, and I believe that's Ty McIntosh down the 75, way up on the high side. But still, Joe Francis in the lane in Norgard.
They're
Four
four.
wide. Whoa! 4 wide. Chill out, lads. It's lap 4. 4 wide coming off of turn number 4. They keep it straight though. Frankenfield is, I think, the second lowest there, and he comes off best there. With Connor Thompson actually doing really well there in the number 30, donning a new number this season. He's up into P3, and that's really single-filed out the field, as that's really disrupted a lot of momentum up towards the front of the pack, which means we are single-file throughout the first half a dozen cars or so. Leighton Norgard still pushing Joe Francis. Here comes Joe Frankenfield back to the high side, but not with much help. He's giving Connor Thompson a little bit of a side draft, but he's going to have to wait a while before those middle and higher lane drivers get to him, try and give him a shove towards the front of the field as he's starting to fall back ever so slightly as Gavin Higgins on his inside. Connor Thompson there as well in the 0-4. Oh, we've got two Thompsons, that's confusing me. Caleb Thompson in the 0-4 as well. Connor Thompson in the 30 as well. So we've got two Thompsons up near the front of the pack, but still Joe Francis and Leighton Norgard. Not two drivers we mentioned at the top of the show as particularly super speedway specialists, but they've been doing very well up at the front thus far.
Definitely, and Leighton Norgard has come along the last couple of seasons. Every season he gets on track, he's faster every single time. I could see him winning a couple races this season in the trucks, definitely.
So a race winner in seasons past in the Stage 2 Sports Truck Series, took his first Elite Racing League victory at Homestead a couple seasons ago. That season he made the Championship 5, I think finished P3 in the standings at Richmond if my memory serves me correctly, and he's known as somewhat of a dark horse, I think, in the Elite Racing League. Someone who's definitely there to win, but sometimes maybe Lady Luck just not on his side. But meanwhile, we're going 3 abreast again there with Tyler Foote, giving a massive push to RC Anderson. They see Justin Wadsworth as well, fellow Lake Norman driver, a fresh transfer for the Lake Norman stable this season, entering the fray as well. Dustin Dewar there with Dugan Motorsports up towards the front, and that high side has some serious momentum. 3 abreast early doors here, and Anderson and Foote both get clear. They both go straight down to the low side.
Two of the best in the league right there, and that shows you why, you know, them two trucks pushed all the way to the front on the third lane and just took the lead out from everybody.
Full trust and full confidence in one another is what enabled RC Anderson to take back that first place, but wrecking it up towards the front pack. Jeff Green's in, Dustin Dewar, a big one, almost upside down goes to 32. Racimus involved, that's Jesse. 25 of Seth Rules, Michael Goodman. Everyone's in it, a big one in the tri-oval early on there. Sam Boutwell as well. The 23. See the 38 there, Jeff Green, hard into the wall. The 8 of
I'm
Chris
about to be busy.
Well. Looks like you certainly are, Ethan. We'll have to see a replay of exactly what caused that accident. We'll see a replay courtesy of Whiplash SimCams, who are using those camera angles for this season. Looks like, I think that's Justin Wadsworth, just gets into the side of Jeff Green. Big impact there. Dustin Dewar collected right up on the top of the 6th. That almost ended terribly. An Austin Dillon-esque crash almost on the cards there for the 32. Manages, though, to keep it on all fours. They see Michael Goodman get a piece of it. There goes Dustin Dewar way over the top of his teammate Jeff Green. Almost into the catch fencing. Just about keeps it out of it on 2 tires, but keeps it right way up there. You see Sam Boutwell hit the wall there. The 16's involved. The 70, Jesse Racimus, that's your defending champion as well. The 85, Raymond Hanneman as well. Winner here last season. Involved in a massive accident early doors. See that Andrew Rocco towards the back as the back markers start to filter through, hard on the brakes, trying not to get involved. But that's going to take a lot of heavy hitters out very early on.
Dave, you might, if you have time, you might want to take a ride on board with the 77. That is one of the greatest wreck avoidances I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I got him.
See Dustin Dewar as well on board. That is not what you want to be seeing out your windshield. Let's have a look, see how the 77
He might have got some slight content, but my word, he did a whale of a job picking his. I think it's a 77. Brady Smith. There we go. Folks, hang on tight for this.
Team. Oh, see the 88 gets spun up ahead of him. Race clock there. There goes Justin. I think just about to avoid Justin. Wow, that's a hell of a job from Brady Smith there to avoid that pileup. And that truck, just from looking at him, looks pretty squeaky clean as he comes into his pit box for the first round of pit cycles. See replay of Chris Wright as well, navigating his way through the carnage, hard on the brakes. Not going to try and power his way through it. Yeah, I just stopped. In fact, Nelson is wanted to let Jeff Green get turned around. You see there, Jeff Green very, very beaten up in the accident. Jaden Racimus, one of those drivers that I think just managed to avoid it, coming out the pit lane now, scored in P16 there. Josh Smith as well in the 08 for Gear Wrench. Number 2, Cody McCorkle, Matamar Motorsport Chevrolet in P21. A few more drivers. There's Matt Hackerthorn there in the 48. I think just about missed it as well. Gerald Campbell in the 00. Multi-time Cup Series champion. Kendall Noah player as well. Fastest in practice, fun fact. Currently runs P25 looking fairly clean on that Silverado. Working our first caution of the evening, and normality is restored with regards to positions as pole sitter RC Ennison has reclaimed that first place, and it's Tyler Foti up in second with Connor Thompson, who had a very good run in the Grand National Series at Daytona last season, if I remember rightly. Currently sits in position number 3. Gavin Higgins and Frank Foti, father of Tyler Foti, currently runs in P5. So definitely a bit of jumbling off positions early doors, but the old firm still hanging strong up at the front. Some veterans of the league heading the field as early caution in the race, just 8 laps in, is going to take out a lot of very fast cars. Jeff Green, Dustin Dewar, 2 super speedway specialists among them. Just cycling through the rest of the field. They're missing that top 5. You see the 57 there of, I believe that is Dylan Javier in the 57. Yeah, Dylan Javier in the 57 in P number 6. Dustin Hayes there in P7. Joe Francis, Leighton Norgard, and Johnny Thomas rounds out your top 10. CS Michael Harsack there just behind in P11, so that's Chad Frankenfield there. I think just now, yeah, we are doubling up, ready to go green again. And I do wonder, Matthew, when you have an early wreck like that in one of these super speedway races, does your mentality sort of change as such? Obviously, naturally you want to be there at the end, so you want to kind of keep your nose clean at all costs, but that when an early wreck like that happens, does that make you just that bit more cautious on the subsequent restarts?
Definitely do. When there's a big wreck like that, you take a deep breath and you just chill out for the next 30 laps. Try to get your composure back, because I think that's a lot of guys are going to do that because they know they want to be there at the end, because you're not going to have no shot if you wreck early here. So everyone wants to be there. So the only way to get there is to be patient and wait to make your aggressive moves.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see if we see any more 4-1 action early doors here as well. Obviously, as the old adage goes, in order to finish first you have to finish. So we'll see what goes on these subsequent restarts. Whether these guys elect to be a little bit more cautious this time around, as about a quarter of the field got involved in our first caution of the race, first caution of the season. The 50 and the 40 will occupy P1 and P2 on this restart. We'll see if there's any inter-team communication on this restart to try and get those two linked up in one lane or the other. Obviously, Pro Edge and Like Normal forming a bit of an alliance in this particular race. 2 powerhouses of the Elite Racing League, definitely a force to be reckoned with when they combine. As the pace car will pull off momentarily. There it goes to restart on lap 12 of 100 in the SimPulse Paintworks 250. Green flag is in the air as RC Ennison enters the restart zone now. Green flag officially in the air. Tyler Foti hanging back just a little bit. Maybe he's got a poor restart as he begins to pull alongside the 50. Once again, Thompson and Higgins second place in the bottom row and top row respectively, as Seth Rawls and Raymond Hanneman have encountered a bit of trouble on the restart. We stay green there. I think that's Dustin Dewar. Michael Goodman as well coming out of the grass in the tri-oval. Something must have happened, some sort of Constantina effect on the restart, but we stay green, and it's Gavin Higgins pushing Tyler Foti all the way to the front. Lake Norman still in Navier in tow, but now with a push from Connor Thompson, RC Ennison making a resurgence on the low side.
I'm sorry, I'm doing some race control things right now because of that incident that happened on the restart.
Oh, yeah.
I had some camera issues, so I couldn't see exactly what happened right there. But someone had a black flag from, I guess, wrecking into pit road from that, so I had to clear that. Let me catch up here a little bit and see where we're at.
We'll see Tyler Foti is chopped off as...
Sorry about that.
What, Ethan? Go for it, dude.
So I was able to go talk to Brady Smith, the 77 pit. He said all he saw was the back bumper of his teammate in the 07, and he just hung on tight. I asked him his plan for the rest of the race after narrowly avoiding that, and he said he's just going to do the same thing. So look for the 07 and 77 to stay linked up and try to stay out of trouble here.
Obviously, the new AVBW team, of course, Brady Smith and Race Clark. We'll see what those guys can do on the high banks. They currently run both solidly in the mid-pack, having avoided that accident. So we'll see if they can find their way towards the front later on in the running, only lap 14 of 100. As you see, it's a Lake Norman front two on the inside and the outside, with Tyler Foti, 7-time champion, leading Gavin Higgins on the low side. Dylan Havir for Lake Norman leads Joe Francis for Aggressive Eagle Esports on the outside lane there. As I think everyone's starting to be a bit more calm in their particular positions, as Gavin Higgs, Joe Francis administering pushes to their respective line leaders, but everyone else behind them just modulates the throttle, keeps it nice and smooth, and hopes to avoid another big wreck like that, at least for the time being. We see running on board with Joe Francis. You see just how important it is to try and give your leader a push, try and get square. But with these trucks, of course, you can be quite aggressive. You don't have to lift too much on the straights, if at all, to give a solid push to your drafting partner. See, I think there's a bit of a blink out of Tyler Foti, but looks to be all okay. Lap 15 of 100. Let's see if I can bring with Joe Francis there in P4. Second on the outside lane. You see just what it takes to be a good pusher at the super speedways. It certainly looks easy on the outside, but when you're driving one of these trucks at near on 190 miles an hour, it becomes a lot more difficult, especially when the consequences for a mistake can be serious. Speaking of that, there is a crash further back in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Someone hit the outside wall very, very hard indeed, and that is going to be another big accident, taking out a lot of cars on just lap 16 of the race. I think that's the 59 of Caleb Akuma involved, the 04 of Caleb Thompson there. We'll see what happened. It was a black, white, and green truck as well, spearing off into the top side. I hope that wasn't Brady Smith for the new AVPW team. Just talked about those guys trying to survive. And that's the 47 of Sam Boutwell getting hooked off. I believe that's Andrew Rucker, the 23, with a massive impact into the outside wall. That's Jordan McAvoy. You see Tom Bourne there in the number 16. Scored as the 61. Ty McIntosh as well for shift involved. Sam Boutwell, of course, got hooked there to start that whole incident. We'll see another replay courtesy of Whiplash Simcams. Looks like it's going into turn 3, Matthew. They always got a bit too off kilter, maybe a stack up further ahead, and that caused a whole lot of bruised egos.
Yeah, a massive stack up. Seeing the 00 lifted and everyone behind him lifted, and looked like Rucker didn't lift enough and got in the back of the guy in front of him and knocked him down and turned the 23 car, I think, head on into the wall.
Couple big impacts. You see McAvoy and Boutwell both sliding down the banking in quite a miserable unison there, with heavy damage to both of those race vehicles, but luckily these guys still have time to see to those damages, get repairs, and hopefully still remain on the lead lap so that they can still continue racing. Is there a stack up there? Gerald Campbell there in the 00 got checked up there. The 4 as well of Matt Telder for 4D Raceware got involved, and that caused Jordan McAvoy, Sam Boutwell and company to get speared off into the outside wall with quite a hefty whack. Working on our second caution of the evening, see Jesse Racimas, defending series champion, all out of control there. I think it's coming out of turn 4. Doesn't quite save it, but doesn't want it to be any significant damages to that truck. Gets it nice and wound up. That's another big incident early on here. Definitely thinning the herd, but yeah, not what we want to see this early on. We want to start getting some proper green flag laps down. But Tyler Foti now leads a Lake Norman 1-2. Currently behind the safety car, Dylan Havir in the 57 runs in second. Joe Francis in P3 for Aggressive Eagle Esports in the 35 truck. Johnny Thomas with Belly Up Sports in a race high at P4 at the minute. Michael Harsack, the Canadian, up in P5 for Covered Bridge Racing as well. Jaden Racimas, son of Jesse Racimas, of course, in the number 1 truck with Frank Foti, father of Tyler Foti, in P7. Andrew Harcastle, ARCA winner at Talladega last season, a bit of a plate track specialist in his own right. Look for him to come towards the front. Dustin Haynes for Street Limit in P9, and the 08 of Josh Smith for Gear Wrench Racing in a race high P10. So that crash will, of course, a lot of jumbling throughout the field, and again, more very quick cars taken out in that crash. I think these guys are happy just to survive for the moment. I think we'll come to the one to green this time. No one elected to pit that time, of course, with tyres not being that big of an impacting factor in the super speedway races as they are on other tracks. But hopefully we'll be going green soon enough with Tyler Foti and Dylan Havir leading the way.
I think a few did pit. R.C. Enerson on back had pitted. Connor Thompson, Gavin Higgins. Sorry.
He's got a few takers on pit road, and I see them all coming out just in front of the safety car, so as to not go a lap down, take as many repairs as they possibly can. But we are now doubled up behind the safety car. It'll be a Lake Norman 1-2, as we've previously mentioned. The pace laps definitely they drag on a little bit at Daytona, with lap times around, give or take, around 47 seconds. Under race conditions, when you have the safety car out after a big crash like that, you're looking at about 90. So it definitely drags on a bit. But these guys, hopefully now, after 2 massive accidents, will be a bit more chill on these restarts. See race control there. 6 car. That is Justin Wadsworth parked for the max laps down rule. Of course, there is a rule. Only at super speedways, if you go more than 6 laps down, you are parked for the night, as your day is essentially done at that point. And obviously, lapping cars at super speedways, when everyone's all tightly packed together in, packs of 40, sometimes it can definitely be a bit hairy, and we don't want anyone lapaging the field as such in these sim races. But now, we'll be coming back to the green momentarily, and I'll get something to talk about other than Kevin LePage, hopefully, when we come to this restart. The pace car will pull off momentarily, with Tyler Foti leading the way. Hopefully not too intense, that's we have another crash, but intensity is certainly what we like. Especially
stage points.
Stage points, oh my god, yeah, I forgot about the stages.
That's why a lot of guys stayed out, man. They want them points.
The stage ends in 2 laps. This could be a mad dash to the stage break. There you see, quick tonight's race format. 2 20-lap stages to start off the night, ending at lap 20 and 40, and then of course you have your final stage going from lap 41 to 100. Green flag is now in the air. It's a mad dash for stage points that I think everyone just about forgot, as it's a Lake Norman 1-2 up the front. Everyone trying to claim stage points early on, I suppose, except for Tyler Foti. Being a 7-time champion, he's actually not eligible for Truck Series points. He's just trying to steal them from the little guys. Bit mean if you ask me, but alas, he still leads on the higher banks with Joe Francis pushing him. Johnny Thomas trying to push Dylan Havir towards the front as Racines and Hossack third in their respective lanes try to get the momentum rising in their particular grooves. The 57 leads to the 83, leads to the 40, leads to the 35. Coming down the back straight, coming into turn 3 for the penultimate time in stage number 1. It's a resurgence again on the inside for Tyler Foti, with Joe Francis coming behind him with stage white flag. And if there's a crash, the stage will end, of course. So we'll have to see if these guys can keep it clean for one more lap. Another 2.5 miles at Daytona to end stage 1. It's Johnny Thomas straight to the high side. We're going to see 3 abreast on lap 20. Johnny Thomas way up to the high side. Daytona 500 winner, of course, in seasons past. Now straight to the lead. Jaden Racines in hot pursuit there in P2 with Andrew Hardcastle third on the high side there. Thomas straight down to the bottom lane there. Blocks Tyler Foti. He's going to try and give a push to the 83. Get him up towards the front there. They're all getting a bit hairy towards the back of the pack there. But now Foti pushing Thomas up towards the front. It's not a lot of momentum for the high side. Hardcastle trying to push Jaden Racines up towards the front now through 3 and 4 for the final time in the stage. Joe Francis potentially looking for a move on the outside. There he goes. Tyler Foti potentially throws the block. Johnny Thomas throws the block. Foti to the outside, and it's going to be a photo finish at the line. Who actually won the stage? I couldn't quite tell there.
Looked like it's Foti.
There's Gordon Thomas by 2/1000ths wins the stage, but is that a stage caution or has there been a crash?
That was a crash.
Oh dear. I was trying to look at the stage results. Someone stacked it and I didn't see. I don't think I saw on the cameras either.
They were 3 wide at the line.
Johnny Thomas wins stage 1 by just 2/1000ths of a second over Tyler Foti. There's 36 there. I believe that's Matt Gruenberg, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it looks the 29 and the 1 got into each other.
Oh dear. Whoa! Oh! They're all piling in there. Dustin Durham, I think that's Matt Gruenberg. Oh yeah, it's a big one. Jaden Racines facing the wrong direction there. There was a crash over the stage finish line that we didn't actually quite catch. It's Andrew Hardcastle as well, facing the wrong way. So this happened fairly far up the field as Thomas and Foti fight it out for the stage win. As our noses get chopped off, there's Andrew Hardcastle, that's Chris Wright as well. Gets involved, some big impacts there. I think it's the 4 of Matt Telder. As the field scurries and disperses to try and avoid it. And it's a big damage for a good few trucks there. As everyone checks up, you see Dustin Dewar, I think it's Matt Gruenberg, involved in a completely separate accident as well. The 18, I think that's David Westergreen, just getting his truck collected there towards the back. Sam Boutwell filters his way through, having already been involved in an accident today. He wants to keep the damage on that 47 truck very much limited, but we can now all catch our breath. Stage 1 is done. Johnny Thomas takes the first stage. Matthew, your take on that first 20 laps of action?
A lot of action earlier in this race really surprised me. Didn't expect the 3 wide move, especially that 4 wide that didn't wreck anybody. These guys are full send tonight, and I like it.
Definitely not pulling any punches no matter what lap it is. We'll see if that pays off, but definitely more action than I expected. 3 cautions maybe, but not within the first 20 laps. That is for sure. We'll see how the next 20 or so unfold. Obviously conclude stage number 2 where more points will be distributed. As we come back now to the live feed, that's Donald Kite there. Sorry, not Matt Gruenberg. Donald Kite in the 36, do apologise there. As Josh Adams now stays out under the caution flag. He will now lead the field to the green. I think a Leighton Norgard will come out in second place there for Adam. Adam? Who's Adam? Abbott Motorsports there in second place. Gavin Higgins in the 20 for KOR Motorsports. I believe that's a transfer. I don't think he drove for KOR before. He now resides in P3. Matterman Motorsports' Cody McCorkle runs in P4 with Matt Hackathorn in the 48 in P5. Jacob Quill, not someone we've really mentioned as such so far today for GRA. He's in the 67 running in P6. Zachary Trevino, another driver we haven't mentioned much, also for GRA in the 88 is P7. Jeff Green trying to make a comeback from that first caution which he was involved in. Looks a little bit scratched up on the right hand side, but other than that looks clean enough to continue. Andrew Rucker, Championship 4 contender from last season alongside Jeff Green, Gerald Campbell and Jesse Racines in the 64 lines up 9th with Caleb Bakuma also involved in an accident earlier tonight is P10. You see Michael Harsack there in P11 in the number 24 machine. Gerald Campbell, 2-time Cup Series champion, will restart this race in P12. Chad Frankenfield, IndyCar and Cup Series champion, and probably other series champion that I forget at this moment in time. He runs in P13. Tyler Foti, 7-time champion in P14. RC Anderson, Grand National Series champion in P15. Obviously, stage 2, as a result of that caution, will actually be slightly shorter than stage 1 as we'll restart in a couple laps time, presumably around that 25 or so. So that means there's only about 15-16 laps for these guys to take those stage points. That could mean we are potentially waiting for even more explosive action than we did in that first stage, as there is even less time for drivers to claim those all-important stage points. Crucial points that could be the difference between making the playoffs and not, as we see some more drivers fighting out the pits, presumably getting some damage tended to, but we are now doubling up behind the safety car, which means we'll restart with 16 to go in stage number 2. Ethan Brell's joined the Discord chat. Do you have a report for us, my friend?
I do. I was in the Lake Norman Motorsports chat. I got to talk to David Westergreen, one of our good buddies in the announcing team, and he had about 2.5 minutes of damage repair left to fix. I asked him if he still had some hopes of getting up there and winning. He said Probably not, but I think I'll be able to stay in the pack and maybe push somebody. So he should be able to just hang on with the lead group, but you never know what could happen.
We'll see how David Westergreen does with that very damaged number 18 machine. Hopefully, for his sake, they'll have a couple more cautions and expects to get that car repaired in, but we'll have to wait and see. As 16 laps in stage number 2 await our drivers, with Josh Adams leading the field for the first time tonight in the number 01 machine. However, Leighton Norgard started P3, now occupies P2, leading the outside lane alongside him. Higgins and McCorkle will be trying to push those two drivers towards the front, with everyone behind them trying to work as one big unit to get their respective line up towards the front as best they can and maximize their points all in this second middle stage of the race that ends, of course, at lap number 40. The pace car lights, of course, are off. Fred, the safety car driver, will be pulling in to the pits momentarily, and we can get stage number 2 officially kicked off with the SimPulse Paintworks 250. It's round 1 of the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. It's Norgard, it's Adams, front row for the restart, entering the restart zone now, green flag up in the air, we're waving, and it's not a great start for a Leighton Norgard, caught sleeping there a bit as Higgins and Adams go flying off into the sunset, and the 12 truck will have to look to get some momentum very, very quickly if he wants any chance at getting back towards the front. He's alongside Gavin Higgins, so Higgins won't quite clear him off the corner. He will still lead the outside line. Coming off of turn number 2, he does have, I believe that's Jacob Quill alongside him, as here comes Josh Adams blocking the run of a Leighton Norgard. Norgard's going to give the 01 a push there down the back straight. That's going to open the door for Cody McCorkle to start to push Gavin Higgins towards the point. And into turn 3, it's Higgins and Adams side by side for the race lead. McCorkle and Norgard in tow behind them. Hackathorn and Quill make up. My Discord just crashed. That's not good.
We can still hear you.
Oh, you can still hear me? Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, I'll watch on the iRacing. Please hold. Okay, no. Matthew, you're going to have to take over my...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was over. We got Adams, who is no sleeper at these plate tracks, taking the lead on the outside, dropping low. Norgard's going to be coming with a run with Quill, the rookie, the new rookie in the league, pushing Norgard all to the outside of Adams. You got Higgins helping Adams.
Matt, these guys have to, at some point in these races, these guys usually kind of file in and just ride. Are we ever going to see that, you think?
I don't think with the trucks. The trucks is just so hard. You're going to be stuck side by side the entire time, no matter what. Now, I think the only way you're going to go single file is if you want to save fuel or anything, but we ain't never going to see that tonight. Not enough laps.
Another veteran here at Daytona, Andrew Rucker. He's that third car on the outside line, so that's not a guy that's going to want to sit there and ride around. I got to imagine Andrew Rucker is going to want to get up there and lead some laps.
Oh, definitely, dude. I'm sure if he can get a run and someone to go with him, he'll put him 3 wide. He seems to be pushing that guy in front of him into Leighton right now. They're working really good up there.
Yeah, I don't know if that 57, their second car on the top, I don't know if he has much of a choice. He's definitely having to push a Leighton hard.
Oh, definitely. And it's sketch. I know in the Cup car you can do 3 deep, but and other than that, it gets really sketchy trying to push 3 trucks or 3 cars deep. I see a lot, no shuffling in the back. I thought we'd see more people trying to get to the front, but it seems like they're just set on running just side by side for right now.
Another veteran lurking there up near the front. Cody McCorkle in that 2 truck. I know he's had a few playoff runs here in the truck series. He's a good plate track racer too, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that Ream Chevrolet later in this race coming down to the finish.
Oh, definitely. I've been around a couple seasons and seeing Cody run some trucks, and he's done pretty well at these tracks. So I mean, it'll be cool to see him win a race. I don't think he has won one in the league.
Welcome back, William.
Norgard there. Norgard being aggressive, man. Usually Leighton Norgard's pretty calm, collected guy, kind of wait and bide his time, but he's up here taking the lead away from Josh Adams.
Oh, definitely. Tonight it seems like he's been wanting to stay up front. He's been in the top 7 all race long and finally getting a chance to on the front row to try to take the lead from Adams here.
Right, we are now back. Discord, hopefully, can cooperate with me this time. because I'm seeing my teammate Leighton Norgard up the front and I want to cheer him on. So Leighton Norgard currently leads at the SimPulse Paintworks 250 with Josh Adams right on his inside there. He's got, I believe that's Jacob Quill in the 67. Yep, 67 Jacob Quill pushing him towards the front. They'll come to the stripe this time. It will be 11 to go in the second stage here at Daytona. Josh Adams getting a push from Gavin Higgins. Across the stripe they go. It's that 30 of 100. As you mentioned, Leighton Norgard getting very aggressive. It's not something we usually see out of Leighton. He tends to be a bit more passive on the plate track races, but of course stage points being dished out in just a few laps time. You do have to get aggressive, as we mentioned at the top of the show, if you want to take victory at these tracks. But now just 10 laps to go as Cody McCorkle gets all out of shape, coming off a 2, starting to go 3 wide up near the mid-pack. Matthew, obviously you know how to run on these super speedways. You get towards 10 laps to go in a stage and you're up, you know, say somewhere around the mid-pack, say top 10. What are you going to try and do to try and get you up to the front before the stage is done?
I'm going to try to talk to someone to see if we can work together to get up there, because you're not going to do it yourself, you know. So you got to find a truck, probably 2 other trucks to help you get to the front if you're riding up there in the top 10. If you don't find that help, you're just going to get left out and probably drop all the way to the back.
We'll see. You see one driver, there's Gerald Campbell there, way up on the high side, all by himself. As you mentioned, obviously he cannot do it by himself, which is why he's falling back considerably. He does have a bit of help behind him.
Who's that? Johnny Tom? Oh, nope, Johnny Thomas failed.
Oh no, ditched him. Bye-bye, Gerald. To the back you go. There's Johnny Thomas straight down to the middle lane. Well, he's coming back up. He might try and work with Gerald Campbell before this stage is done. We'll have to wait and see whether we see that 00 coming back towards the front of the pack as everyone starts to get a bit squirrely towards the middle of the pecking order. Everyone trying to find their groove. Visibility obviously very limited when you're running right up on the bumper of another truck going through these corners. For now though, just 9 laps to go and it's still Josh Adams and Leighton Norgard holding firm at the front of their respective lines. It's very much a momentum battle for the time being between these 2 respective lanes, but we might see a 3rd lane emerging, of course, soon, led by Gerald Campbell and Johnny Thomas.
Definitely, them 2. Well, they've been around the lead for a while. I could see them working well getting this 3rd line to get to the front. And Johnny's no sleeper too at these plate tracks. You know, I consider him one of the best at these tracks. So, without a doubt, he is going to be racing for the win later in this race if he doesn't get caught in a wreck. Oh, we have Tyler Fody and RC jumps up to the 3rd lane to pull that lane, and someone else behind them. Who is that? I can't tell by the truck scheme.
Dylan Navier, I think. Oh, they're going to be up at the front before long. Jacob Hill blocks Fody. There we go. The 3rd lane properly emerging now with 8 laps to go in stage 2. Do one of either Norgard or Adams take the bait and go up high? They're kind of thinking about it. They're kind of halfway through it. Andrew Rucker Andrew Rucker blowing over. What is upside down? Joe Francis upside down. That's a huge one going into turn 3. Whoa. We all knew that was going to happen as soon as they started looking forward. That was a massive one.
And looking at Rucker, he looks like he has no damage on that truck.
No damage and no shame for Andrew Rucker as he flies through the to get swiped.
They caught the lap truck there.
Yep.
Caleb Bakuma blows over, lands on all 4s. Andrew Rucker blows over, lands on all 4s.
35.
Joe Francis, not so lucky, blows over, hits his head on his roof. Going through turns 3 and 4. Raymond Hanneman doesn't have a front bumper. Frankenfield's in it. There's 88 there. Trevino in it as well, up on the high side there. That is a massive one. Coming to the end of the stage. See another replay as they caught a very wounded Dustin Dewar. That'll be probably the reason why that happened. The closing speed was wild there. See Joe Francis managed to get back on the 4s. A heavy hit to the rear there. Dustin Haynes just squeaks by there. That'll be a scare. Josh Smith as well just gets through it. That is a very, very heavy accident for the 4th caution of the evening, just a third of the way through. And it's a rear view from Dustin Dewar's back bumper. These guys probably going at least 20 miles an hour faster, and they just can't compensate in time. As you see, Jacob Quill goes to dodge it, as does Tyler Fody, and they'll converge on each other, going forward a bit wide. going into the corner, and that just caused an entire poo-poo storm going into turn number 3. There were hits Kendall Noah player as well. Ex-Daytona 500 winner, of course, driving that number 94. That was a big one, and everyone looks to be coming to pit road from about 6th on back.
What makes that scary is I'm watching it back from the race control perspective on my replay, so I can call it. Dewar was blinking down the backstretch, so literally, like as soon as the pack caught him, he blinks out for like 2 seconds and comes back while everyone's trying to avoid him. That was scary.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want to see. I think a super speedway is probably one of the worst tracks you can have a car with a poor connection in. And they start pinging back and forth, disappearing and reappearing like Houdini. But alas, there will be, with this caution, like 3 laps to go. We're going to have another mad dash for some stage points to end stage number 2. And in all the carnage, in all the chaos, it's still Josh Adams and Leighton Norgard leading the field to the green, this time in 1st and 2nd. A little bit of a shuffle. It's P3 now, race 5 for Matt Hackathorn 48. But now, just quickly, we're going to go for some ad reads, some ad breaks.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back for live coverage on the Elite Racing Network of round 1 of the 2024B Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series. It's the SimPulse Paintworks 250 at Daytona. Josh Adams leads the field currently behind the safety car. Elects to take the outside lane on this restart. Leighton Norgard currently runs in 2nd. It was a massive accident, including Joe Francis going upside down and 2 other trucks blowing over and half flipping going into turn 3. That brought out the 4th caution of the night. Now the lights are off on the roof of the pace car, which means this is going to set up a 4-lap dash to the stage checkered to dish out another helping of stage points to our drivers. All important in the playoff picture, which is why you'll see some drivers get very, very aggressive on this last restart. But of course, with how close we are to lap 40, another yellow will end the stage. So these guys are going to have to see if they can try and make it to the green, or rather the checkered flag for stage number 2. Leighton Norgard and Josh Adams enter the restart zone now. Adams does step on it a little bit earlier than I think the rest of the field were expecting. Norgard hangs on a little bit better than he did last restart. Hackathorn right with the 12, the 40 of Tyler Foti right with the 0-1, but a big gap to 5th and 6th on back. See now Frank Foti and Gerald Campbell beginning to close up there. Those are your 3rd drivers in each respective lane. Josh Smith as well entering the fray. Racimus there, Jesse that is, going way off onto the apron. It's Josh Adams now clear of Leighton Norgard. Foti clear of Leighton Norgard. That is your new front two at the top of the field. That's going to give the lead of the outside lane to Gerald Campbell, letting Norgard down to P3. Will he look to make a move on Tyler Foti and try and get some momentum from the 00? Foti goes high. Norgard follows him up to P2 for the 12, with Tyler Foti now leading with 3 laps to go in stage number 2. Campbell in P3 as the inside line begins to fade. Frank Foti comes through. Johnny Thomas there, way on the high side. The 40 and the 12 and the 00 way down low now as Josh Adams begins to come back on the low side there into P4. Another big move there as Gerald Campbell to the high side. Foti throws the block. Adams now down low, trying to push Norgard towards the front. It's all shuffling up at the front of the field with 2.5 laps to go in this second stage. Norgard now leads by half a truck length over Tyler Foti there. Josh Adams pushing the 12 as hard as he can. The 00 trying to get Foti up towards the front. Matt Hackathorn and Josh Smith as well entering your picture now. Frank Foti on the high side. He's third on his outside line, trying to help his dad get a stage win. It's Aleti Norgard that leads though with 2 laps to go in this second stage. It could get very explosive very, very quickly now as they've still run 2 by 2. Norgard officially a truck length clear off the 40. Does he look to block the run of the 40 or does he stay loyal to the 01 behind him? We'll see coming off of turn 2. Looks like still the inside lane is the dominant lane, but here comes now Tyler Foti with a push from Gerald Campbell. Norgard elects to stay low this time, going into turn 3 for the second to last time in stage 2. Josh Adams still pushing the 12. Matt Hackathorn still there, right in the picture, looking for potentially a good helping of stage points to kick off his rookie season in the truck series. 1 more lap to go in stage 2. Lap 40 of 100 of the SimPulse Paintworks 250. It's Aleti Norgard that leads from Tyler Foti, Josh Adams and Gerald Campbell. That's your top 4. See them 2 by 2 at the top of your picture there. Foti leading by just a nose over Norgard. The inside line begins to resurge through the corner. Does Norgard throw the block? Can he get clear of the 40? Not quite. It's a good bit of momentum for Tyler Foti now with help from Gerald Campbell behind him. Adams will need to respond with a push of his own to the 12. It's neck and neck going into turn 3 for the final time in stage 2. Who can collect 10 stage points to kick off their season? Chris Wright there in the number 8. Way on to the high side, trying to make a move. It's Norgard at least for 3 and 4. Will he look to throw the block as Foti comes off of turn 4? He stays low. Norgard with a push from Adams. Foti with a push from Campbell at the line. Aleti Norgard is going to win stage 2 at Daytona. It's 10 stage points for the driver of the 12. And we're straight into the last 60 laps. Stage number 3 is underway.
Johnny once again pulling that third lane to the front. I'm telling you, he's going to be a problem tonight. He come here tonight to win this race, and he's probably going to do it.
Yeah, a contender for the race victory is the 83 of Johnny Thomas, but now all of a sudden a big push. Whoa! Big chop to the nose.
Oh!
Campbell's in it. Campbell's upside down.
Wreck. Oh!
Oh my word! How many cars do we want to destroy, lads? That was huge.
He's still on the side.
Still on the side. Is that? I can't even tell. That's just the undercarriage of a truck. I don't know who that is. But someone is very, very dead in turn 3 there. See, Campbell came down, Foti came down, Frank tried to follow him, just bored Aleti Norgard there. And Aleti nowhere to go, obviously. That hooks Foti, hooks Campbell there. That's Campbell there going on his side. Johnny Thomas as well in it. Gerald Campbell just slides on his driver's side door there. There's Trevino, Thompson. You see the 17 there as well, filtering past Dustin Haynes. Matt Hackathorn got involved as well. Thomas reversing down the track. Chad Frank gets through it.
Looked like Frank just got that tunnel vision. I mean, it happens all too often here at the plate tracks. You're following the bumper in front of you, and they're clear down, but you're still not. You still got a truck to your inside, and you just swipe down right into it. Oh, man.
It's going to hurt.
That hurt.
Yikes. And that could be Gerald Campbell's night going from hero to 0 very, very quickly as he's forced to take a tow back to the pits as he sees all the other cars overtaking him at quite a peculiar angle while he sits on his side rather limply, rather miserably, and rather helplessly. Potentially be a DNF for the 00 who still sits in his pit box. Which means that with literally everyone pitting except for the 57, Dylan Javier now leads at Daytona, with Leighton Norgard, I think, judging by the scoring tower, winning the race off pit road. I'm very interested to see why everyone is pit except for the 57.
Yeah, I'm surprised the 57 stayed out there because, like, I would have been with everyone else. Pit right here. That way you can take less fuel on your final stop to end the race. That's so you spend less time putting fuel in it. So you'll have more time on pit road if we get a green flag stop here.
We'll have to wait and see. And we've got someone in the waiting room, or the quasi infield care centre. It's the driver of the 00, Gerald Campbell. Firstly, Gerald, are you okay? That looked like it hurt.
I can barely hear you, but maybe my eardrums blew out from that wreck. It was that was a hard wreck there. I got the wombo combo from the Fodies there. It was I got blocked by the other and hooked from behind. I don't know, man. You can take on one Fodie, I guess, at Daytona. You can't take on both. I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, it looked like Frank got a little tunnel vision. You know how you get locked on pushing someone, and he seen y'all move down, and he was like following y'all. Just got carried away.
There's tunnel vision, and then there's heat-seeking vision. I'm more of the heat-seeking kind, I think, because that one hurt. I mean, he kind of, I that happens like when it's like, oh, I accidentally came down a little bit, man. He was just like, nah. I felt like I had a hitch on the back and carrying a boat because yeah, man, it was, I don't know. I don't know really what to say about that.
I understand. You hit the wall like I did Wednesday night. It hurts.
Yeah, so now there's like, just checked, 48 minutes of repair. So no.
I was gonna ask you if you had a chance to get back out there, but you still have all your teeth after that hit.
No, not really. I don't think I swallowed a couple of them. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't believe how far it slid me on the side, and no one would be kind enough to hit me back over. So, you know who your friends are, I guess. It's not been good for the Aggressive Eagle cars or trucks here. It's all four of them have been taken out tonight, and at least I got stage points in stage 1 and stage 2. For whatever it's worth, not really worth anything because I was mainly trying to go for a victory. I thought about playing it safe in the back, but the guys in the back wanted to wreck under just taking the green flags. There's not a safe place anywhere. I mean, I was running in second place and that wasn't safe enough. So I don't really know where you can be at on the straight track right now.
Yeah, it looks crazy out there tonight. But before your wreck, how were you feeling on the track? Was you feeling confident about how fast you were in the draft, working with people?
I felt really good. I feel like if I had people I trusted out there, I probably wouldn't have let Fody put the blocks on me. But when I had Frank Fody behind me and Tyler Fody in front of me putting the blocks, I know if I go to the outside, his dad's not going to go with me. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to stay in these lines. So I never really got to experience being able to make the pass for the lead. But I was learning at the front. It's a big difference between learning what to do at the front of the field and the back of the field.
Oh, big time. I can agree on that one.
So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be, it's going to be whoever Tyler Fody puts on the hex onto next, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think Tyler Fody's dad, did he get involved in that? I think he hooked and kept going, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he hooked you and just kept on going.
So there you go. We teamed up with Do Good tonight just to have the same amount of trucks as Lake Norman, but it didn't pan out so well. I think Jeff Green's the only one left out there.
Oh well, Jeff Green's a good one to have out there at Daytona. I mean, he's something else at Daytona. I put my money on him sometimes.
He won the ARCA race, so keep an eye on to that Xfinity driver there, or the 2000 Xfinity champion there, so keep an eye on that. I know the racing's back green, so I'll give it back to you guys.
All right, man. Well, Gerald, you have a good night, and hopefully catch you next week, buddy.
I'll be back on Monday to see how that's going to go bad.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night on track then.
All righty. See you guys.
That was the driver of the 00 with probably a very bruised ego after sliding on his side down the banking in turn 3 with our most recent caution. But now, of course, as he did mention, wonderful commentator is Gerald Campbell. Racing is back green, and it's again a Lake Norman 1-2 up at the front. Even though they didn't take either of the stages, they have been up front all night long. It's Tyler Foti and Dylan Nevere leading their respective lanes, with Tom Bourne for the first time tonight up near the front, and Jeff Green. Both of those drivers have been involved in accidents of their own, and they found their way back to the point there. Cody McCorkle and Zach Trevino up in row number 3 there, with a Leighton Norgard stage 2 winner still doing well there in and around P6, P7. Now we're seeing the outside line really start to get some good momentum. Tyler Foti though drops down. It's going to accompany his Lake Norman teammate Dylan Nevere on the low side. That's going to give Tom Bourne potentially the chance to lead his first laps of the evening if Trevino can give him good enough of a push. As here comes Severe back to the high side, so it's still going to be a Lake Norman deadlock leading both lanes. But now, Matthew, with over half the race still to go and no more stage points on offer, do you think that with 53 laps ahead of these guys, they're going to start to actually chill out a bit?
I would hope so, because I would want this to end in a green. I feel like if I'm in their shoes, I want a green flag stop. That way we can spread the field out and you'll have a better chance to race for the win. But if we keep wrecking trucks, man, we're just going to stay closer together and just keep wrecking trucks for the rest of the race. So hopefully we get that green flag run and some stops, and we spread the field out and we see who the better plate racers are.
Most definitely. These guys always want to finish as quickly as they can. I know they do because, well, I know I do because it's already 2:36 a.m. over in London, and I'm trying to go to bed at some point this side of Christmas. So, well, hopefully not too many cautions await us in the latter half of this race, but still it remains Lake Norman up at the front with Tyler Foti leading Dylan Nevere and Jeff Green, of course, in the top 3. Things looking fairly spread out for the time being, 2x2, not much going on the racetrack. You see Cody McCorkle there beginning to enter the picture with still over half the race left there. Matt Gruenberg in the 17, so not the 36, he's driving the number 17 Chevrolet there. We're seeing him up towards the front for the first time tonight. Dustin Haynes as well. Chad Frankenfield, he's a multi-time elite champion, and we haven't mentioned him much, apart from at the top of the show where we mentioned he could potentially contend for the win with the aggression that we know he has, but we are waiting to see him actually up towards the first couple of rows here. Potentially Chad actually biding his time and showing patience for once. I've never seen this out of him, but new season, new me. So potentially a new Chad up towards the front of the pack as drivers begin to disperse near the mid-pack. Seth rolls to the apron. I think I saw another black truck down towards the apron, potentially some hairy scenarios that drivers are looking to avoid. That's caused a bit of a rift in the pack up towards the middle to the front, but drivers are beginning to spread out now 2x2. No big bonsai 3-wide moves for the minute, and it's still Tyler Foti leading quite comfortably over Jeff Green and Cody McCorkle. The inside line looking a lot more organised at the minute.
And going back to Chad, you're right. I have not seen him be so patient at a track. The only time I see him like this is when he's driving an Indy car and he just takes his time. This is like a whole new page for Chad tonight.
We'll see if we can see Chad up towards the front before the night is done. As I just said, they weren't going 3 wide. A mile later, they are 3 wide for third place there as Jeff Green splits the middle. It's now Gruenberg, Foti, and Trevino. 3 wide there for fifth. Oh, that's scary. Gruenberg there thought about going low in front of Tyler Foti, but no dice for the 17. Has to dart quickly back to the middle with Chris right there. Oh, Cody McCorkle saves it. Whoa, good job,
Keep it down.
Cody.
Keep it down.
Don't come back up flying in front of the field. Oh, we're still 4 wide for like 5th. As Cody
my goodness.
flying back up the track. Good save. And does manage to keep it clean. Good job from the field to not have another nuclear explosion of an accident in the middle of the tri-oval there, as Javier and Green now lead each respective lane. Matt Gruenberg trying to push the 38 to the point now, as Javier and Foti still locked together. Instead of side by side though, now they are front to back as Jeff Green takes to the low side, now leading the inside line for the first time tonight. Matt Gruenberg now leads the outside with Chris Wright up in tow. We've not seen him in the top 5 much, if at all, so far tonight. We'll see if he can be there when it matters most in about 125 miles time. But for now, after a fairly hairy accident or near accident in the tri-oval where Cody McCorkle was about 45 degrees facing the wrong way and managed to save it. We continue on with fairly clean trucks up towards the front of the field. Green and Javier still leading the running. Hopefully these guys will start to chill out now, but the last 1,000 times we've said that, it's gone like 4 wide immediately after. So I think we'll cage our expectations with that one.
Well, there ain't nothing like going 193 wide coming up to lap cars. That's something different, man. It's scary when you're in that situation. Jeff Green looking stout, man. That's one guy, when you get him to the front at these tracks, he will block both lanes and he will stay up front. A couple of new guys up there I really have never seen on track 2 working their way up there, going to be contenders, I feel like.
Definitely, we've not seen Matt Gruenberg as well. Zachary Trevino, I think, has done a couple of ARCA series races and has been up towards the front. I remember Atlanta vividly when I was in the ABBA Motorsports and BOR Sim Sports camps there, coaching those guys on. We saw Zach Trevino challenging a Leighton Norgard for the victory. Oh, Tyler Fooey goes spinning off into the infield. Andrew Rock is blowing over. That could end in tears. Come back and flying up the track. That's going to be a yellow. Josh Smith's involved. Tyler Fooey gets out of it cleanly, as that was another big accident. 6th caution of the evening. We're not even halfway through. It's been a messy affair so far at Daytona. And this is what was brought out our most recent yellow flag. I think that looked to just be a bit of a dodgy push there from, I want to say, the 76.
Yep.
Got Tyler Fooey a bit out of whack.
It's just so hard with these trucks. And once you get 3 trucks pushing, someone's going to wreck. It just never works.
Yeah, there you go.
What a great job by Fody to get that whipped back down to the infield and not even hit anything.
Yeah, he did a brilliant job there. Stamp on the brakes, get that thing straightened out, and then let back off, and there you go. Through the grass, just let it kind of slow itself down naturally. Again, back on the brakes. Just trying to keep that thing straight first and foremost so it doesn't fly back up the track. Try and kill all that speed.
That's a save. That's a champion save right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Rucker catching more air.
Blowing over. I think that's the second time Andrew Luck has blown over tonight. Thankfully, lands on all 4s on both occasions. That's about 6 cars flying up back to the outside wall. Kendall no player nowhere to go. Matt Telder nowhere to go.
Just
Caleb Pakuma and Castle.
Just wasn't as lucky as the first time he got airborne.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if he's going to be able to roll away from that one.
Michael Harthack as well. That's Race Clark as well for the new AVBW team as well. Chad Frankenfield, we just mentioned his patience. It was paying off for him, but now I'm very innocently involved in the 6th caution of the evening. Although looking at his truck, it doesn't look too banged up. He could probably get that done in a pit stop or 2 behind the safety car, and hopefully will remain on the lead lap. We're looking at Kendall Noah player and Seth Rawls here. Matt Telder into the back of the 94. Connor Thompson well taking avoided action, and oh dear. That is a hefty whack for the 94. Matt Telder just gets stopped. Time McIntosh out at the top of your screen. Just filtering past. That is, again, a lot of quick trucks involved in that. Michael Harsack as well.
A lot of trucks involved in that. Another big wreck once again.
Yeah. We've not pulled our punches with regards to the magnitudes of these crashes. It's go big or go home. We don't have a blowover, I think. We'll probably have to count our lucky stars on that one, because I think every crash we've had, someone has gone airborne or upside down. I think 2 of them have been aggressive Eagle cars, actually, come to think of it, Gerald and Joe. So I think Gerald's going to be having a hefty repair bill to pay at the end of this race. But back to the live action behind the safety car. Got 2 new leaders up at the front. Matt Gruenberg in the 17 and Chris Wright in the 8. Josh Adams in P3, but Zach Trevino in P4 will be coming back to live action momentarily, as we're going to go for another ad break. Don't go anywhere.
God damn it.
All right, our premier sponsors for tonight, Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg, rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in a pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. Features a 1.25-mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the NTT IndyCar Series. They have a 2-mile infield road course used by Speed Tour Trans Am, SCCA, and the Porsche Club of America. There's a quarter-mile NHRA drag strip that hosts the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals, and the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. New sponsor this year is 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes are custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, and still provide all the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the original racing gloves for your feet. And finally, our race sponsor tonight is SimPulse Paintworks. This race broadcast is brought to you by SimPulse Paintworks, your go-to for pulsating designs at unbeatable prices. Need a logo or a promo? Get yours for just $5. Want a full racing scheme that stands out? Only $15. SimPulse Paintworks, where every design pulses with creativity and precision. Contact at SPP Paintworks, SP Paintworks on Twitter to get your premium custom scheme. That's our sponsors, guys.
Thank you, of course, to our race and premier sponsors for the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series, as well as all our partners at the Elite Racing League and the Elite Racing Network. As Matt Gruenberg still leads with Chris Wright on his outside. They will double up behind the safety car. They're going through turns 3 and 4, which means they'll be coming back to 44 laps to go in the SimPulse Paintworks 250 at Daytona round number 1. Johnny Thomas won stage 1, Leighton Norgard won stage 2. Who will take the checker flag in around 100 miles time? You'll have to stick around and wait and see, as Fred, the safety car driver, will be pulling off momentarily to hand control of the field over to the 17 of Matt Gruenberg, leading his first laps of the evening. He'll be entering the restart zone in just a second. As these restarts begin to drag on a little bit, it seems like forever when you're down there on the racetrack. Gruenberg potentially with a bit of wheel spin off the restart. Not quite the launch he was expecting or hoping for. Chris Wright is right there with him as well. Josh Adams and Zachary Trevino there, making up row number 2, with Dustin Haynes and Leighton Norgard there in 5th and 6th, as it looks like the inside lane with just a bit of a resurgence on this first lap, waiting though for whoever becomes more organised to start to work their way up towards the front, as Chris Wright leads the outside lane with a push from Zachary Trevino, but looks like Josh Adams giving a decent push there to Matt Gruenberg. Dustin Haynes as well doing a good job in 3rd place on that inside lane, and it's Gruenberg leading by just about a truck length going through turns 3 and 4.
A lot of new guys up front from the wrecks that have happened, so a lot of new faces being contenders tonight, so that's cool to see as well.
Definitely, it was good to see new faces up towards the front of the pack on their debuts. Matt Gruenberg being one of them. He currently leads on lap 58 of 100. There's 43 laps to go. Pushed by Josh Adams as well. A bit of a rift back there. That's going to give Chris Wright a nice slot to jump into their 3rd on the inside lane. Giving control of the outside to Zach Trevino. But now Josh Adams pulls up. Zach Trevino goes way to the outside. We're looking at 3 abreast here at Daytona. Leighton Norgard ditches the AC8 there. He doesn't think going 3 wide at the moment is quite the way to go, and that's going to give Trevino a bad break there. He's going to fall all the way back to the middle of the pack, potentially towards the rear, as he will fight to find a slot to put that AC8 into around about P20, I would imagine, as no one goes with him. Oh, that's a big one! Back towards the infield. I think that's Cody McCorkle there, catching some air on the infield apron. We stay green for the minute as everyone disperses. Cody McCorkle with another mega save there. 2 wheels in the air and still gets that truck facing the right direction, but we do stay green. Let's have another replay of that save from Cody McCorkle, as we'll see exactly what started that accident. Looks like just a bit of a bad stack up there. Another blow over for Cody McCorkle. Clean 360 on the brakes, lets off him. Good job, that man. There's 42 laps to go. Just keeps on trucking indeed, but that of course does create a big disparity between the front and the rear, with now only the top 16 actually occupying the front pack. You see, it's now led by Leighton Norgard and Josh Adams. These two have led quite a few laps, leading each of their respective lanes tonight, and again they assume control of the field. These have been 2 of the strongest trucks all night long. We'll see if they can finish the deal in 40 laps time. Gruenberg and Higgins trying to give pushes to their respective line leaders. Boutwell and Chris Wright as well there in the mix. Now, obviously, if you're in that rear pack, Matthew, obviously you're going to want to get back to the front as quickly as you can. You can't do it by yourself at the Super Speedway. If you're part of that rear pack that potentially got a bit held up by that near accident involving Cody McCorkle and others, what is your plan now for the rest of these 40 laps?
Just get that group of guys and try to get them lined up single file. That's the only way you're going to catch them. Get two trucks up front that can work really good pushing, and everyone lined up behind them, and eventually you'll catch them with them running side by side the rest of the race.
There you go. Got to run single file if you want to go as fast as you can at Daytona. Leighton Norgard, though, with a decent push there from Gavin Higgins, is going to get clear of Josh Adams as he look to take the low side. Not this time into turns 3 and 4 for the end of lap 61. Coming to lap 62. Still, it's Josh Adams and Leighton Norgard leading the field now. I would expect the action to definitely cool down just a little bit with a lot less trucks in towards the lead pack, at least for the moment. I think now smoothness is the name of the game among these front runners as the rear gunners try to get formed up single file and try and catch their way back up to this lead group. But now Josh Adams with a decent push there from Matt Gruenberg is going to get clear of the Leighton Norgard. Norgard will have the momentum. Adams stays low. No one trying to throw the big blocks just yet. I think they're going to save that for later.
Definitely. You're going to save that. With the last 10 laps, you're going to block everybody up there. And I think everyone's now, with the gap they have with 2 different packs, everyone's now just settling in, going to click off some laps, and just try to finish this thing as quick as you can and be there at the end to win the race.
Of course, if you want to finish first you have to finish. And we've already had 6 cautions that's taken out a good few drivers. With only 16 cars left in this lead pack. A second rear pack has formed, of course, as a result of that most recent accident that didn't bring out the yellow flag. So, as you mentioned, Matthew, I think these guys are going to try to stay a bit more calm for the time being, as Gruenberg still trying to push Adams, Higgins still trying to push Norgard as they lap Dustin Dewar. Again there, the number 32 machine goes another lap down. Josh Adams, there's a bit of a side job there to let Norgard try and slow him down just a little bit, try and kill the momentum of the 12, but to no avail as Norgard still with a push from Higgins coming back to the higher side. 36 laps to go. They're almost 2/3 of the way through. I think now they're really just along for the ride. Probably until about the last, I would say, about 10 laps or so, when I think the big moves will start to be pulled out again.
Yeah, definitely. I know some of these guys are probably going to wait till after the stop. But other than that, I know if I'm in the back of this lead pack, I want to try to position myself, get to the front of it before we make our green flag stop. That way I'm in a better spot there. That way I don't have to work to pass those trucks later, you know. So that's what I'm trying to do. I see Fody's working his way back up after his save through the grass. Jeff Green's right with him in the middle of this pack. I think Frank Fody's underneath them down low. They're just riding. I think they're going to wait until the green flag stop, and then it's go time.
I would definitely agree, as I think Tyler Foote and Jeff Green are formidable pair rather. On the high side, will definitely look to work their way towards the front before long. We know how good they are at working together in tandem on the super speedway tracks. Of course, Frank Foote will be joining that particular group as well with his Lake Norman affiliations, but still it remains Josh Adams and Leighton Norgard. Of course, you mentioned, Matthew, those green flag pit stops. Naturally, being in the slipstream of these cars behind you will use up less fuel. So if you're a Josh Adams or a Leighton Norgard, you're naturally using more fuel, not lifting off the throttle and leading these packs. What is your approach to the impending green flag pit stops?
If I'm leading, you know, you're just stuck. You're burning all that tires. Hopefully, you got some guys like, I know Adams, he probably has Chris right with him. They're buddies. I'm sure Leighton probably has a couple guys up there. They're going to go off when they got a pit. That way they can sync up and go together. The guys in the back of the pack, you know, they're probably going to save an extra 2.5 laps of fuel, and might go that extra to take less fuel to go to the end.
Definitely a point in the super speedway races where strategy becomes all important. Communication as well, of course. The leaders, we wanted to communicate exactly how much fuel they have left when it comes towards the end of these stints. You say exactly how many laps you have left, and try to coordinate exactly who you are going to pit with, who you're going to pack up with, ready for when you leave the pits together as well, and try to form up as quickly as you can to get the advantage on your essentially rival packs. As Leighton Norgard does manage to get down clear of Josh Adams there. He takes to the low side there. That'll put Josh Adams second in line on the low side, which means that Gavin Higgins, as it almost gets into the right rear of Josh Adams there, now leads the outside line with help from Sam Boutwell. Matt Gruenberg down to third. On the inside, Josh Adams, though, giving a monster push to a Leighton Norgard. As much as these two have been running side by side for a lot of this race, we have seen them in tandem a couple of times previously tonight, and they have worked extremely well together as a pushing pair.
Definitely. And Norgard has been making the right moves all race long. Been staying up front, doing what you got to do to lead the pack. Because the best shot is to stay in the lead pack. He's doing everything right tonight.
Leighton Norgard trying to cook up the winning formula, and he's about 32 laps away from potentially realising that. Of course, Abbott Motorsports have won at this track before this exact race. You go back to 2023, Corey Abbott took victory here on the higher banks of Daytona, but Gavin Higgins is going to try and have something to say about it with regards to Leighton Norgard trying to take victory tonight, as he now leads the outside line there with Sam Batwell trying to push him, but it seems like the outside line doesn't really have that much momentum. Norgard there. See, Adams took a look. I think Norgard's trying to keep the 0 on behind him as they lap Cody McCorkle. That might get a bit hairy as well with Higgins entering the fray there. And that is going to force Adams' hand as he goes to the outside of Leighton Norgard there. Matt Gruenberg now second on the inside. Higgins drops back to P4. Chris Wright as well enters the picture. So again, Norgard and Adams side by side up at the front as we start to go 3, potentially 4 wide up towards the back of this front pack.
As Higgins pushes Adams to the lead on that outside. And who's that? Sam Bowell. We haven't talked about him all race long. Finally showing his face towards the end of this.
Yeah, Sam Bowell's done well to definitely not give up in the face of adversity in this race, unfortunately. The only time we've really mentioned him is when he's been caught up in a wreck, not really of his own doing. But now he's up there, he's up in P2, currently scored there, just sneaking ahead of Gavin Higgins, potentially looking to get past Josh Adams in his first laps of the night. Sam Boutwell potentially looking for a first career victory. Leighton Norgard all the way back now to P6. There's Tyler Foti now up to P5 with Jeff Green in tandem there in 4th there on the outside line. So these two starting to cook up something between the pair of them. Potentially we could see these two shooting towards the front before long, as Dylan Navir and Tyler Foti have now essentially been released towards the front. Tyler Foti will now look to push that 57 way up towards the front. It's another Lake Norman teamwork little act they got going together up towards the front. 30 laps to go, and it's Lake Norman now working together up on the high side.
Yeah, Foti's going to give him one hard push down the backstretch to see if he can clear this bottom lane and get them both clear. And hopefully, and Jeff Green's hoping that he can follow these guys through. Oh, actually they're going 3 wide.
3 wide. Foti and Javier not having any of it from Josh Adams. They tries to throw the block. That could spell bad news for Josh Adams there as they shoot down to the middle there. Javier and Foti to get in front of Josh Adams. 3 wide now for position number 4 here with Higgins, Adams there, and Jeff Green. Leighton Norgard and Chris Wright now begins to funnel past the 38. Gets a bit of a wiggle on there. Does the 40, but now Lake Norman working well together. They both get clear of Sam Batwell. To the inside go Javier and Foti. We know how good these guys are on super speedways, and they are strutting their stuff once again. Sam Batwell now demoted to P3 with Josh Adams just alongside him. Still all Lake Norman out front, as it has been for decent portions of this race. Tyler Foti and Dylan Javier definitely looking like contenders to take the checker flag, with Batwell and Adams still going at it for P3 behind them.
Got a dynamic duo leading the outside. These guys are really good buddies. They're not technically teammates anymore, but keep an eye on that top line with Chris Wright and Josh Adams working together.
Yeah, when I seen him split Adams 3 wide, I noticed Chris stayed in the middle to help his buddy to get back up to the front. Any numbers on the fuel, Ethan, when you were talking to the guys?
I'm not entirely sure. I can go get that info though.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think you can probably get maybe 35 laps with the truck. So we're getting close to those green flag stops coming here in about probably 10 or so laps.
I think so, and I think with the timing of those potential green flag stops being fairly close to the end of the running, that could definitely throw a spanner in the works of sorts in terms of strategy and in terms of exactly how these guys are going to race for the remainder of this event. As they start to go 2x2 now, a bit more chill in these later laps, trying not to jinx it. There's Josh Adams again back towards the front with help from his friend, of course, as we mentioned, Chris right there in the number 8 machine as well for Lake Norman. It's 57 and the 40 teammates as well. As Ethan Burrell joins back in the Discord call, do we have fuel numbers?
Yeah, and it sounds like it's going to get interesting. I went down to the Lake Norman garage. They said that most of them are going to be able to go another 15 to 20 laps. However, about half of the field is going to be 10 laps short of that. So we should be seeing a group coming down to pit road in about 10 laps here.
That's certainly interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, more. I didn't think some of them can go 20 laps. That's it's going to get good right here towards the end of the race if it goes green.
We certainly will. We could see a bunch of packs converging on each other with about half a dozen laps to go. Could really cook up a feisty finish here at Daytona. We're now 3/4 of the way done. As of the end of this lap, it is lap 75 of 100 of the SimPulse Paintworks 250 at Daytona. First round of the season. All these drivers looking to get off to a winning start to their potential championship campaigns. And it's Josh Adams and Dylan Havere side by side for the race lead. Tyler Foti pushing the 57 with Chris Wright pushing the 0-1. Sam Batwell and Jeff Green in tow behind them. Everyone is starting to begin to spread out. I think these guys want to make it to the green flag pit stops now.
And looking at those numbers we just seen on the screen, Josh Adams and Chris Wright have to pit before most of these guys up front. So in my mind, I can see these guys trying to push, Chris Wright trying to push Adams, both of them clear, and then make their green flag stop.
Another thing I wanted to add to that is with all those different staggered recent pit stops for those guys, we might have a mess as we figure out who's going to dive down to pit road and who isn't.
It could get messy. Of course, definitely easier to pit from the inside lane. You don't want to do a Quinn Half as he did a few years ago. Don't want to start picking the outside lane and kill the field. So there's a bit of a blink there from Tyler Foti. He's out and he's back in. So hopefully everything okay with the internet connection of the number 40 machine, as he is slightly detached there from his teammate, the 57. But as you mentioned, of course, as these guys get a bit detached, Josh Adams might take this opportunity to potentially clear himself of the 57. Chris Wright trying to push him as hard as he can. Can the 01 get clear? Yes, he can. The 01 is clear. That's going to make pitting a lot easier should he have to pit a little bit earlier. And of course, Jeff Green has the task of trying to push that 8 car of Chris Wright up towards the front. Here comes Dylan Havere to the outside. Tyler Foti not able to come with him. Dylan Havere way towards the front with a big push there from Chris Wright, the 57, back to the lead.
And that's how you do it with this package. If you want to take the lead from third, as soon as that spot's open, you jump up and take that push to the front and then jump down. Chris is banking on Jeff to push him clear. He wants to get down so he can pit here soon.
Definitely needs to get down as quickly as he can. You don't want to run out of fuel on the high side. You don't have to try and pit from the second lane. You have to check up or, well, risk killing the field, unless, of course, everyone on your inside as well pits. That is something where communication begins to become a factor, as Jeff Green is still trying to push Chris Wright as hard as he can. The field, though, definitely beginning to spread out just a little bit in and around this top 10. The high side very much can join together. The inside line a bit more dispersed, as Jeff Green trying to push Chris Wright as hard as he can. Josh Adams trying to push Dylan Havere as they'll get a little bit out of shape coming through turn 3, but they live to tell the tale. 22 laps to go this time by. Still Dylan Havere leading the race with Josh Adams in tow. Green trying to push right as green flag pit stops begin to loom.
I felt like Chris had an opportunity to get down there behind Adams, but he just keeps getting a good push and side drafting Adams. So he just keeps hurting his chances to get down there and is making it more difficult to get to the bottom.
Yeah, it looked like Chris had a little look there as he's going to
There
try and filter in there to the bottom. There he goes. Just
I'm hearing
behind
some
Josh
chatter
Adams.
from the drivers, guys. We're gonna have a few trucks ducking down pit road this time by.
There we go. Green flag pit stops looming over our drivers. Radio chatter signals that potentially we could see drivers coming down this time. We'll see exactly who comes down pit road this time off of turn number 4. There goes 8 of Chris Wright, the 01 of Josh Adams, 47 Sam Batwell, thanks to Leighton Norgard as well, Gavin Higgins, Zachary Trevino as well. That is a lot of that front pack pitting this time with 21 laps to go.
And that's what you needed. You wanted a lot of trucks to come with you. That way you have the help.
There'll be a lot of trucks in tandem there. Of course, the important thing here now is not to slide your pit box and give yourself a slow stop, because that means you could completely lose touch with your pack and you become a total sitting duck, about 3-4 seconds up slower than the rest of the field that are all drafting together. They'll begin to race off of pit road there, led by, I want to say, the 01 of Josh Adams there. As you see, here comes the lead pack now. Dylan Havitt, Tyler Foti. There goes. Oh no! Gruenberg's pit all by himself there. I think he thought Josh Smith was going to go with him. Matt Gruenberg has been hung out to dry completely by the rest of the field, whether by force of fuel numbers or by a lack of guys willing to go with him. Matt Gruenberg, yeah, that might ruin his chances of winning.
William, I just got another update from Tyler Foti, and it sounds like this remaining group up near the front is going to wait another 10 laps before they come down to pit road. So expect to see these guys wait until about lap 90 to 91.
Very interesting. So that is where the strategy spanner is sort of thrown in the works there. With Dylan Havitt still leading the race. Tyler Foti won't be looking to, of course, try to pull any overtakes. It's only this front 4 that actually, or front 5 actually, Josh Smith there, just a couple of tenths behind them as they begin to lap Dustin Haynes. These guys are going to be very chill for these next sort of dozen laps or so until they take to pit road. So now as Josh Smith gets to go around Dustin Haynes, it could, I think Josh Smith might lose touch with this pack unless he can link up with Dustin behind him. But now, just this 4 remain, and obviously it's only the Lake Norman guys, so Jeff Green and Matt Telder might not be able to go that long.
Yeah, maybe not, or I haven't really heard that much over the radio. I just know they're stretching it about, 10 more laps. So let's see. Oh, Jeff Green and Telder, same number. So I can see them pitting at the same time.
I was going to say, I did hear from the 38 camp that they are on board to go with Lake Norman, though I did not know about Telder.
It's interesting to hear, but I think when you consider those pit numbers and the fact that Matt Telder hasn't come down already, I think it's safe to say that Telder is trying to go with that particular group of 3 there. Final group yet to pit, and they will be pitting around lap 90 to 91. So definitely a very interesting strategy for this front 4. We'll see if they can make it work come the checker flag as they now begin to come past Sam Boutwell. So Sam Boutwell must have had trouble on pit road. He pit with that first pack, but now is completely detached and has lost touch. Potentially an overshooting of the pit box or a slow stop for the 47 machine means he is all but down and out unless there is a safety car from now till the end of the race. But still now, these guys are beginning to chill out, biding their time, ticking the laps off, waiting for the green flag pit stops to come.
And Matt, I know these top 4 will have an advantage in terms of how quick their pit stop is, only needing a lot less fuel than everybody that had already pit. But is 4 trucks even enough to maintain a good enough speed, or are they going to fall really far behind that main group?
That I really don't know. I haven't raced the trucks a lot, so I don't know if the 4 cars are going to be able to hang on to the speed of an entire pack like you could with a Cup car. But with the less fuel, I think they'll be good, and then they won't lose as much time. They might even pull out in front of them, not having to add a full tank to theirs.
I think it might depend on,
I am hearing from Tyler Foti. He's only taking about 6 gallons of fuel, so that's only going to be 1 can of fuel for these guys, even a little less than that.
Yeah, that will not be a long stop at all.
It's going to be close because that big pack, I'm sure, is putting down some pretty good laps.
Yeah, I have to say, it's obviously dependent on how they're running. Of course, these four, they're all single file, so even though they don't have strength in numbers as such, they're not trying to overtake each other and aren't slowing themselves down that way. So, essentially, see, Josh Smith, though, has got some help from Sam Batwell, and of course, a slight slipstream from the front four. A second a lap quicker than Joe Francis. So, we're going to look at Joe Francis's gap to Dylan Levere. Now, Connor Thompson's gap to Dylan Levere, so I think this pack behind them from 6th on back might actually be racing each other, which would explain why they are losing touch with the front five. Josh Smith begins to tag along back with the front four from Javier down to Telda. The gap continues to grow, so I think with the short pit stop and the fact that 6th on back are all racing each other, I think this is really Blake Norman's race to lose now.
And I have one more update on this lead group. They've changed it to lap 89, so with 11 to go, it sounds like this front group of leaders will be making that crucial pit stop.
The only thing I say is going to be bad is that when you're on old tires leaving pit road, it's the worst at Daytona, going around the apron.
Very true. Very, very true. But I think that advantage might be well, that disadvantage rather might certainly be offset by the fact that you see Francis Thompson continuing to swap places as well as everyone else behind him. Race Clark as well entering the picture. The gap now 31 seconds each as incrementally tick up bit by bit to the tune of around a second a lap. So when this front four come to their pit stops, it could be as much as 34 seconds potentially between Javier and Connor Thompson or whoever is leading that particular pack. So this could really spell bad news for everyone behind them as well, because of course that first pack that all pit together will soon be catching them as well. You see, like in Norgard, we know is in that pack, so 42 seconds behind. They'll be catching that second pack and will then get sort of stalled out as such. So this could really, really spell bad news for everyone for P6 on back.
Definitely, and I don't know the sweet spot here with the time about when to pit or not, but what these front 5 or 6 are doing and gapping the guys back there before they pit, I think they're actually going to keep the lead as Joe Francis comes back down pit road, or he pits for the first time. I'm sorry.
I think these guys are yet to pit.
Yep.
You see Noah player, Hackathorn as well. So Jalen Racimus as well. Joe Francis, of course, as you mentioned. Hackathorn, I think that might have been a slip pit box for the 48. But this front 5 continue on. Sam Batwell, of course, a lap down, but still hanging on in 6th in line. I think it might be this time by Ethan. Am I right in saying that, or is it going to be next time by?
Sounds like the money stop is going to be this lap for this lead group. This whole race, you can't win it coming onto pit road, but you sure can lose it.
No mistakes, no speeding. Get in your stall, get your fuel, and easy out.
Right, let's see. Execution now, the name of the game for the 57, the 40, the 38, the 4, and the 08 trucks as they will peel off into pit road, coming off of turn number 4 this time. There goes Dylan Levere. There goes all 5 of them. Sam Boutwell obviously continues on being a lap down on entirely different strategy. Tyler Foote with a very solid entry there, completely blows by his teammate.
Wow,
Dylan Levere.
that's a veteran pit entry right there.
Yep.
Certainly a veteran's pit entry, knows what he's doing into the pit box. Perfect for Tyler Foote. He will likely win the race off pit road if I had to guess. But of course he has to make sure that his teammates are there with him. That was a very quick pit stop, probably only around 5 seconds for the 40. See Jeff Green coming out of his pit box as well. That Chad Frankenfield there as well, just in front of them. They might be able to give them a bit of a draft. And he's just coming down pit road now. You see on the ticker, number 40 Tyler Foote still leads this race. The 30 is coming around just about now. That's Connor Thompson leading a pack involving Ty McIntosh. They're going to come around just about now. Valencia picture. That is just Thompson and McIntosh. They're going to come out just ahead of Tyler Foote and Matt Telder. To that pack that won the race off pit road. So this could certainly get interesting if Thompson and McIntosh don't actually have to pit yet. That could really change things.
Definitely. This is going to get good the last 5 laps when these packs converge together.
And if that roaring pack that's in turn 3 right now doesn't start making up some ground, if those guys that just pitted get formed up nicely, they are not going to catch up to that lead group.
Oh, no. They did the right thing, needing to stay out the extra 10 laps, and then put in the gap they did to pull the bigger pack.
Yeah, they're all racing each other back there. You see 2 by 2 by 2 for around P5, P6 there. And that's going to let the likes of Tyler Foote, Matt Telder, Jeff Green, Dylan Avere, and well, Caleb Pacuma is a lap down, of course, but he's still in the mix. But now Jeff Green pulling the move on Tyler Foote and his teammates going with him.
I got breaking news, William.
Yeah.
That was not a veteran pit stop by Tyler Foote. Too fast on pit road. He's got to come down.
Oh, I figured
it was too good to be true.
Too good. I figured it blew past the team. That was like, there was a part of me that thought, I feel like he might have spared. That is a very rare mistake out of Tyler Foote, and that is going to bury his chances of winning this race. It also means that that pack, of course, are now one weaker, and Tyler Foote is probably the last driver you want to lose in a pack on a super speedway race. But of course, still have Jeff Green, still very strong. Dylan Avere, Matt.
I'd like to point out another storyline though. Dylan Avere, he's kind of been under the wing of Tyler Foote. He is a rookie for Lake Norman Motorsports. Well, Tyler Fote's out of this race for the win now, but Dylan Avere is still up there. Let's see what this rookie's got now that he's kind of out on an island.
Have to see exactly what he can do. I'm sure Tyler Foote will be in his ear, mentoring him all the way as he pushes Jeff Green for the minute. 8 laps to go at Daytona. And the important thing is to look at the gap between Green and Adams. Adams leads that second pack, and they've all now managed to get single file. Crucial moves for those guys to get single file when they did. Now they have to form up. Chris Wright has to push Josh Adams as hard as he can. Same way Dylan Avere has to try and push Jeff Green as hard as he can. They're going to start racing again, I think. There's Josh Smith there inside of Chad Frankenfield. Hackathorn as well involved in that little scuffle.
And that's 2 trucks out of that large group. That is 2 trucks that you would like to have leading that pack, and they have them leading that pack. Josh Adams and Chris Wright. If they're going to close up that deficit, it's going to be at the hand of those 2 guys.
Most certainly is. There's 3.7 seconds now the gaps. They've closed in by a couple tenths of a second that time. We'll see exactly what Adams and Wright can do as they work together in tandem. They look to be catching them incrementally. It's now a race against the clock as they've got just 7 laps to catch up to the back of, I believe that's Matt Hackathorn. Obviously, it will get easier for these guys to actually catch up once they start to collect just little bits of draft from this front pack, and they'll be able to really close up. But as of right now, it looks like it's stalling only slightly in the favour of that second pack. 3.6 seconds still the gap. 6 laps to go. They're going to have to start catching by over half a second a lap if they want to try and catch up.
Matt, how close do you think Adams has to be to really have a shot to get their draft?
A second. You had to be in a second to get that draft. If it's, I think it's like 1.2 right in there. If you don't get that close, you're not getting any of that.
1.2 then the magic number for Adams, and they've all started to single file out now. That top 6 there, top 4 in positions, as well as Chad Frankenfield pulls to the outside of Josh Smith. Chad Frankenfield there in the 15 pulls to the outside of Josh Smith. I'm not exactly sure why, to be honest with you, but files back in behind the 08 machine. Jaden and Jesse as well, the father-son duo there, the Racemai as they are sometimes known, also joining the fray. That is going to make catching up all the more difficult for that pack, and the gap has actually extended somewhat to nearly 4 seconds. 5 laps to go at Daytona, and looks like barring any sort of catastrophe, it could be a 4-horse race for the victory.
These lap cars could come into play, pull on that other pack with their draft, getting them some little extra speed. See, they already knocked off 3/10 just in that one corner with the lap car draft.
You see Matt Hackathorn there as well. You see the gap really starting to come down now, 3.3. This could be a lifeline as long as the back marker is able to then get out of the way as well. See the gap really starting to come down.
Boy, if they get there, this could get really interesting.
But Adams needs to get within about 1.2 seconds of, not even of Josh Smith, of Jesse Racimas there on the relative. The gap between himself and Josh Smith about 2.3 seconds. If I had to hazard a guess, ballpark it, probably only around 2 seconds between Adams and Racimas. You can visibly see now the gap has closed ever so slightly. Chris Wright and Josh Adams and everyone behind him's got a lifeline as Matt Telder pulls out.
That's going to help even more.
That's going to help even more, certainly is. as they all now start racing for position with 4 laps to go. Adams are right now less than 2 seconds behind the leader. Here comes Dylan Avir. Moves to the outside of Jeff Green. We are now racing for the lead. Matt Telder pushes the 57 past the 38. Will the 57 look to move low? He certainly will. Matt Telder follows him through. Chad Frankenfield there, not in the race for position, is on the high side, on the outside of the 38. Here comes the second pack. They now have the
Josh
slipstream.
Adams
They have
is
the draw.
flying.
Oh,
You
they
must
got
have
him now.
Purple sectors.
Oh, they got him now. It's on.
The race is on. It's become a 4-horse race, probably about a 15-horse race now, as Matt Telder takes a quick look to the outside of the 57, trying to make something work. You're better off getting him on the exit, Matt. Don't bother trying it in the middle of the corner. As we see if Jeff Green goes with either Matt or Dylan. Here comes Matt Telder now to the outside of Dylan Havir. Who goes with him? Chad Frankenfield goes with him. He's a lap down car. He's going to push Matt Telder to the front of the pack. Dylan Havir trying to fight back on the inside, but now everyone is here. Look at Josh Adams on the high side in the number 01.
And Chris Wright.
Momentum. And Chris Wright as well in tow. Higgins, Norgard as well following on the high side. Here comes Josh Adams with a massive bit of momentum there. Matt Telder unable to stop him. So is Dylan Havir. We are 3 abreast with 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks are outdoor banger for the lead. Matt Telder doesn't save it. Hits Jeff Green. Chad Frankenfield's involved. Will we get a yellow? Yes, we will. Green, white, checkered is on the cars. We'll have overtime with a crash with 2 to go.
And look who's leading.
Josh Adams leads at the line with Chris Wright second. Jeff Green's involved in it. Caleb Pacuma. We'll see exactly what caused that accident. I think Chad might have just got in the back of Matt, got him all out of shape. Matt couldn't hold on to it. Square into the side of Jeff Green. And into the side again of Chad Frankenfield, Jaden Racimus, Jesse Racimus well involved, Josh Smith, Cody McCorkle, Frank 30, Jacob Quill, big contact there. Trevino just gets through it.
And I'd like to add, Jeff Green is not pleased with the 15.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
I wouldn't be upset with the 15, to be honest with you.
The 4 moving around quite a bit.
The guy in front of him was moving a lot, and he went up and hit Adams in the door, and that's what caused him to go out of shape, and then he got turned by Chad.
That's true. We did mention that. You see that little door bang there between Telder and Adams. So definitely not all Chad's fault. As much as the blame Chad agenda is quite funny, sometimes not entirely accurate. As 15 there just gets into the back of the 4. Is the 38 there? Completely innocent Jeff Green is tagged there. Chad Frankenfield caught up in it as well. Jaden Racimus and everyone piles in with nowhere really to go. And that changes everything, of course. It's going to be an overtime restart. There'll be some lucky dogs dished out or some waiver rounds, but 2 laps to go to decide it. Could this set off potentially a lot of carnage where we could see multiple overtime attempts? I'll have to wait and see. Chad Frankenfield and Matt Telder get together to bring out the 7th caution of the evening. It was a nice green flag run there for that latter half of the race. We went from about lap 53 all the way until lap 99 before we had a caution. Is that everyone behind the safety car? Is that Gavin Higgins there in P3 going into the pits? It most certainly is. We'll see if anyone follows him. Chad Frankenfield, Jesse Racimus. I think that's Matt Telder as well. All going into the pits. So potentially that's for a fresh set of boots or some extra fuel, potentially for some extra GWCs. We'll have to wait as everyone behind them as well comes into the pit. So that only leaves 6 cars out on the racetrack that haven't pitted. Josh Adams, Chris Wright, Dylan Avir, Alayton Norgard, Brady Smith, and Zachary Trevino. If you were out in this situation, Matthew, what would you have done? Would you have pit or would you have stayed out?
I'm staying out. I'm keeping track position.
Yeah, I mean, unless you had your fuel trimmed out to just get to the finish of the race with making that green flag stop as quick as you could, you gotta stay out.
I think that's definitely the thought process for our top 6.
He's pushing you. You gotta hold your line. You went up and hit Adams in the door, and that all started that. If you just held the middle line, you would have been fine.
We'll see as everyone begins to file in behind the safety car for the 7th time tonight. This will, of course, be the first of 3 regulated overtime green white checkered.
Yeah, he was
attempts
on your
by
bumper and
drivers.
you just moved up. Oh,
I tell you what, William, it is gonna get physical here.
Oh
It,
yeah.
like we might have been
Imagine.
trending to finish that thing out. Oh no.
Nope, most definitely not now. This is going to get intense. And yeah, it's gonna be a struggle to keep up with what is about to be on our screens, no doubt. As Josh Adams, Chris Wright, obviously we know those are two good drafting partners, but they will of course be separated in that regard as they will have to take up the front row respectively. I think the lights will come off the pace car, hopefully this time by to send us back for our first overtime attempt. Matt Telda still in the pits.
I'd like
With
to
a
point
high
out
sense of damage.
somebody that we were talking about a lot early in the show and had gone quiet. Look at a Leighton Norgard. He's right back up in this
He is
thing.
right there. He's been in around sort of the top 10. Obviously, he did win stage 2, of course, let's not forget.
That's
But
right.
the number 12, he has been really mustard quick all night long, and now he's in prime position to take advantage of it. He'll be pushing Josh Adams to the point as Adams, being the lead car, elects to take the outside. We've seen Adams and Norgard working together all night long, and they've been pretty formidable as a pairing, obviously, despite being affiliated with different teams. So definitely look for those two to work well on the outside. But of course, Josh Adams does have a friend in Chris Wright, so we could see Adams potentially drop down to potentially give Chris Wright a helping hand. Leighton Norgard doesn't have any friends in terms of teammates with him. Andrew Hardcastle has been involved in a couple of accidents so far. He is currently out of the race, scored P35. Corey Abbott, of course, not racing Brent Jones, neither. So Leighton Norgard might be on his own in terms of a team, but I would say he definitely probably has a few friends out there that he's raced with that can trust him and are willing to try and push him to a win. It's at this point in a super speedway race, your friends are where you find them, and you can't win a race without them. So everyone's going to have to try and work together, find a dancing partner, and try and get their truck across the finish line first. Everyone is doubled up behind the safety car, ready for our first of 3 green-white checkered attempts. Obviously, if the caution comes out before the white flag, we'll do it again. If it comes out after the white flag, the race will end under green flag conditions, no matter what happens, even if it's one car flipping over the finish line backwards and on fire. See, coming out of turn 4 for the final time behind the pace car, Fred, the safety car driver, will be pulling off momentarily to hand the field in control of Josh Adams in the 0-1 machine. Fred's gonna pull off just about now. Barney, the flagman, does have the green flag hoisted in the air, ready to wave it. Ready to wave the field off for the first of 3 overtime attempts. And Josh Adams steps on it very quickly, and Leighton Norgard's right there with him. I do wonder, potentially a bit of communication between those two. We've seen them work well together, and they are both clear at the front of the field. But of course, that is going to give Chris Wright a monster run coming out of turn 2. You have
And
to
he's
watch
got a
for him
teammate behind him.
Most certainly does there. Lake Norman Stable working together. When do you throw the block? Do you throw the block? Left 20 coming out of turn 2. Dylan Havir to the high side. Chris Wright is going to stay behind a Leighton Norgard for the time being. This shoots to the inside of the 12 there. The gap was there. Adams chooses to stay with a Leighton Norgard 3 wide now. Dylan Havir up to the high side. A Leighton Norgard stuck in the middle. He's going to lose a few spots from this. Ty McIntosh and Dylan Havir now to the middle. Leighton Norgard falls back to 3rd in line. Gavin Higgins with no help there on the high side until Connor Thompson might get to him in the 30. 1 lap to go at Daytona. The race is official. It'll end under green flag conditions. Dylan Havir and Josh Adams lead the way up at the front with Ty McIntosh and Chris Wright there in tow in their respective lanes. Leighton Norgard and Brady Smith for the first time tonight up near the top 5. He's there when it matters most. Zach Trevino and Gavin Higgins, so they all begin to disperse. The field implodes for turn 2. They're going to save it. No, they're not. Josh Adams goes spinning. He's going to save it on the back straight, but they'll begin to implode behind them. Ty McIntosh still leads the field to green with about half a dozen cars behind him. They all make contact. More contact. Connor Thompson goes spinning. It's a 4-horse race now at the front. Gavin Higgins leads McIntosh. Right, and then Norgard up at the front. Off of turn 4 for the final time. Gavin Higgins tries to throw the block. Can't get there. Gets turned across the line. Who's going to win it? Across the line. Ty McIntosh wins at Daytona.
Oh my
What a
word.
finish.
what did I just watch?
Oh,
Matt,
wow.
you're gonna be busy breaking that one down, buddy.
That was insane.
And I'll tell you what, we mentioned the survivalists in the AVPW team. Brady Smith and Race Clark, second and third. It's a double podium on debut. As Gavin Higgins tries to throw the block, Chris Wright gets into the back of him. Ty McIntosh lives another day. He puts a Leighton Norgard in the wall. Chris Wright almost upside down. Leighton Norgard has to settle for fourth, but Ty McIntosh victorious on the higher banks. He won at Talladega last season in this series, now wins at Daytona. Becoming a bit of a plate track specialist now is the 75.
Wow.
Oof.
What
Catch
an
your breath,
ending.
everyone. What an ending. Couldn't have asked for a better finish. I think as Ty McIntosh gets a winning start to the season and will lead the championship, exiting Daytona. He'll do his burnouts. Well deserved for the Shift Esports driver, as these guys are really starting to present themselves as a formidable outfit in the Elite Racing League in all the series, and Ty McIntosh a well-deserved victor.
That was something, man. That was what a way to end it. And congrats to Ty on that, to survive that chaos on the last lap to win that race.
Absolutely. Here are your results officially for the SimPulse Paintworks 250. Ty McIntosh wins his first race of the season, his second in his Truck Series career, by 7/100ths over rookie Brady Smith and fellow debutant Race Clark, the teammates for AVPW, second and third. Leighton Norgard, strong runner all night, stage 2 winner, will unfortunately have to settle for P4. Sam Boutwell, a very solid top 5 for the driver of the 47. Joe Francis was upside down during stage 1, comes back to finish 6th. Chris Wright in P7. Connor Thompson in the 30 will finish P8. Dylan Havere and Josh Adams 9th and 10th. Jacob Quill in the 67 will finish in P11. Matt Telder for 4D Raceway, involved in that last caution incident, will have to settle for 12th. Tyler Foti got a speeding penalty on those last green flag pit stop cycles, has to settle for P13. Matt Hackathorn and Zachary Trevino round out the top 15, with Jeff Green and Josh Smith in 16th and 17th. Dustin Haynes finishes a minute off the lead in position number 18. Looking through the rest of the field momentarily, you see that 19th and the first car a lap down, Chad Frankenfield, and the 20th car, Cody McCorkle in the number 2, Jaden Racimus and Caleb Kuma 21st and 22nd. 23rd, Gavin Higgins. 24th, JC Racimus, and 25th, Kendall Noah Player. 26th is Seth Rawls, 2 laps down. Frank Foti, Tom Bourne, and Michael Hossack all finished 5 laps down. Those finish off your classified finishes with Matt Gruenberg, Johnny Thomas, Dustin Dewar, Michael Goodman, Andrew Hardcastle, Andrew Rucker, as well as Gerald Campbell, all failing to see the checkered flag at the end of the race. And now we're going to wait for our podium sitters to enter the waiting room. We've got Ty McIntosh in there at the minute, waiting for Brady Smith and Race Clark. See our upcoming broadcast as well. August 1st, Homestead, of course, that's already happened, but next time out, we're at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Gateway on the Oval, I believe. Well, no, actually, I think, if I remember right, I think it's the road course. It is the road course, the Gateway road course. I don't know if either of you two have ever driven at the Gateway road course. I certainly have not. What's that track like?
I haven't either. I have not gotten to experience that. I do enjoy running the oval there, but have not taken right turns there.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what that race course cooks up, the first road course race of the season. Still
Yeah, I
waiting
don't think
for-
I've ever touched that track either.
Yeah, it's very, very odd track. Took me a while to even realise that Gateway actually has a road course. Of course, we mention it all the time on the sponsor. Just never.
Ethan, you want to pop down to AV and see if the other two are
Yeah,
gonna
let me-
show up here?
Let me go grab them.
Yeah, I could grab the AV.
They're new
drivers.
guys. They may not know their way to the booth.
That's true. I don't think they were expecting
And I
to
had the
be
key.
here on their second or their first appearance either. Definitely a good showing from the AVBW drivers.
They were very excited about the news, so
Yeah.
they should be on their way.
Is that
Ah,
a
it's very
whole
good.
new team in Elite?
Whole new team. Whole
Okay.
new team.
I like to see new faces and new teams come in.
There we go. Right, we're gonna let's bring all three of them in, and we'll just do it kind of one by one. Right, post-race interview time. Joining me first is third place finisher, Race Clark, of course. Debut in the Racing League, and you finished third. How would you sum up that night overall?
Oh man, I guess I'd sum it up by a demo derby, but a fun one at that.
Definitely. Well, of course, we knew that AV PW team, of course, brand new to Elite, but we knew, courtesy of our pit reporter Ethan Burrell, that you guys were kind of just going to lay low and try and be there at the end. And well, you most certainly were, second and third on the team's debut. That must be a very good result, and hopefully some good momentum for you guys to carry forward.
I agree. Very excited about that. When all the chaos cleared and I was right there on Brady's bumper. Very happy about the 2-3. Happy about everyone. Had plenty of trucks in the show. I'm glad a couple of them had a good one.
Well, of course, next race going to be the Gateway Road Course on the infield. I don't know if you've ever driven it before. I know not many people have, but do you look forward to that race? Are you particularly a road course specialist, or?
You know, I got to say, I do love me some road course racing, but I don't know a thing about the Gateway Road Course infield. So, Roval, I'm excited to learn about it. Excited about my chances for qualifying into the race next week.
No, as well, of course. Any sponsors or partners you want to thank for getting that 07 up on the podium on the team's debut?
I got to thank James Miller. He didn't make the race, and I actually got bumped by our fellow teammate Matt Gruenberg, but he painted all of our trucks, 5, 6, 7 of them, beautiful. And everyone who watched, Adam, Sam, and Chris, all our buddies, it was great. Appreciate y'all for the show and chatting everyone putting on the league.
Also, thank you very much for your time, Race. Congratulations on that P3.
Thank you, guys.
And now, joining Matthew Weeks in the interview booth, second place finisher, Brady Smith.
Brady Smith, your first night in Elite, because I've never seen your name before. What did you think of how the racing was in your first race?
Man, it was a wild race. I would say that I can't count how many wrecks I had to drive through there. Probably 7 or 8 wrecks to get to the end. I did not expect to be in the top 10 there to get there. A couple wrecks got damage in, but it was fun. It was a fun race.
So coming to that green white checkered, when y'all are pacing and you're talking to your team, did y'all have a plan to get up front, or were y'all just winging it?
We were winging it. I didn't think Race would be able to make it up to us. He had a lot of damage as well, and I hoped we didn't get another caution there. I was running low on fuel as well, so it was no plans, just hoping for the best.
And one last question, that last lap, man, what did you think of that last lap?
I think there was, how many wrecks on the last lap? 4, maybe? They just kept diving off, and I was hoping no one would come back up and ruin my day, ruin Race's day behind me. It'd been a bad race then, but it turned out good for all of us, or at least me and Race.
Yeah, that's a way to kick off y'all's Elite thing, to have 2 guys finishing the podium. That's good. Congrats to you guys. Any shout outs you want to give before you head out?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to shout out my brother. He likes to watch these things. My girlfriend watches these things every now and again. I never get up in podium, so it's nice to finally get a shout out. It's awesome.
All right, man. Well, you had a good run tonight. You have a good one.
You too, bud.
That was P2 finisher, Brady Smith, on his debut, finishing second, but tie. Race winner on a super speedway. You've done it again, my friend. How good does that feel?
I mean, it feels great, man. New sponsorship, first race with Weekend Woodsman and Tim. It feels great to be able to get it done. We were involved in like 3 of the first 4 wrecks. I thought it was pretty much done, but had just enough gas to get to the line, and that was insane.
Well, of course, it's a decent start to the season. Of course, victory at Daytona, definitely not too shabby, but. We're looking ahead now, next week, August 11th, Gateway Road Course. How do you feel about that one?
Definitely gonna have to put a little bit of work in. I'm not really familiar with it, so I'm sure there's gonna be a couple hours of tinkering and trying to get comfortable. I think something else that's big for me is the momentum at Daytona. Obviously, we got 2 more races this week, so first 500 on Wednesday is gonna be kind of fun. I don't think I learned much I can carry over because of how different the truck and the next gen are, but I feel great right now with everything. Start of the season, this is exactly what I needed.
Awesome. Well, of course, you've got a whole season ahead of you. It's obviously a great start, but what are your kind of hopes and expectations to what do you want to be getting out of this Truck Series season?
I mean, I feel like obviously we're a plate track contender. I mean, winning Talladega last year and Daytona now. I think we can contend for a couple more wins at other places too. I feel like I've been decent on the short tracks, mile and a half. I'm still working on it, but I mean, if we can make the playoffs and contend for a championship, that's obviously the goal. There is to be able to fight for the trophy at the end of the year.
Awesome. Well, of course, one more question. Any shout outs or partners shout outs you want to give for getting that 75 in victory lane on the high banks?
Absolutely, man. My spotter, Jake Scarborough, he's running every series but trucks at the moment, hoping to get in. He literally was my eyes in the sky, got me through as many of the wrecks as possible. If I was caught up in it, it wasn't his fault. Obviously, Weekend Woodsman for coming on. Tim was really excited to jump on the truck this season. It was huge for him. He's been wanting to sponsor me in something. Other team sponsors, I mean, we got Numbers by Joe, who's sponsoring me in a couple other series this year. If you need a custom number made, iRacing number, or a sign made for anything in your gaming room or your man cave, hit him up. He does fantastic work. Seth Rawls Designs for this beautiful truck, all of our shift trucks. You guys are putting on the broadcast, and everybody at Shifty Sports for being in the call. I know Nick was in there trying to keep me cool-minded, and having those guys in here kind of makes it really calming.
Well, congratulations again on your second career win, first of the season. Thanks for your time, Ty.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So that was race winner Ty McIntosh there. And now I'm going to hand over to Matthew and Ethan, two drivers that are significantly better than I am and know what they're doing on a super speedway. What are your guys' final thoughts on that race?
To me, it felt like a normal truck race, like you would watch. Like, it's just you got a lot of guys coming up trying to work their way up to the top series, and this is one of those series where it's like that. So you expect to see some incidents like we've seen tonight, but all in all, we had a great ending to kick off the Elite 2024 B season. Man, I can't wait for the rest of Daytona this week.
Yeah, and these guys put on an exciting race. There's a nice blend of veteran talent, a lot of new faces as well. So a lot of plate racing is really just knowing your competitors around you. I think that kind of led to a lot of our mix-ups and crashes there throughout the night. But these guys put on a fun race, man. It's always exciting. Everyone was able to get rid of the preseason jitters now that Daytona's over with. So a lot of guys, that may not have had the result they wanted, they'll be able to look forward to the rest of the season. And what a great start for Ty McIntosh, man. There's no better way to start the season than with a victory.
Definitely no better way to start than to park it in victory lane. But that is going to be all we have time for tonight for Elite Racing Network's coverage of round one of the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series. It's Ty McIntosh that takes a second career victory and starts off the season right, parking it in victory lane at Daytona, and a couple of debutantes on the podium in Brady Smith and Race Clark round out an amazing podium for an amazing race from a lot of different trucks up at the front, a lot of different stories to follow for the rest of this season. But from David Huckleberry up in the booth, from Ethan Brell, our pit reporter, from Matthew Weeks alongside me on play-by-play, as well as all our premier partners and wonderful, wonderful people in the Elite Racing League and at the Elite Racing Network, I have been William White calling the action. Thank you to everyone for watching. We'll see you next week at Gateway Road Course, as well as on all our other series that we'll be broadcasting throughout 2024B. Thank you very much for watching, and good night.
Mm-hmm.